find their accounts from here. All right. Boop 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 boop. Boop 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 boop. Boop 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 boop. Oh, microphone noises.
If you have headphones, you just died.
Internet. What's up, Internet? It is Monday. What's going on?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. At the... What is this?
Tacoma Dome.
The Tacoma. We're not live from the Tacoma Dome, though. Someday, maybe we will be. Maybe we'll do a live stream from the Tacoma Dome someday. Who knows? It really
not as likely as us doing it from the Kingdom.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I saw Blue Oyster Cult was going to be there. And I think we could probably someday get as big as Blue Oyster Cult, right?
I'm not sure about that.
Maybe we'll have to downgrade to the Emerald Queen Casino.
I think we could play there. We could pay them enough.
All right.
We'd pay
Hashtag
them.
Emerald Queen Casino goals.
Is tripping.
It's tripping. Free plug.
Yep.
Free plug to the Tacoma Dome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe we could play like the Museum of Glass. And then
We're
we'd be in there
rowdy
like,
for that. We're a little rowdy.
banging on some glass, going crazy, right?
Yeah.
There's Dan. There's Dan right there.
Oh, are you gonna get him?
All right. So happy Monday, everybody. Our first little piece of business that we need to go over here is we have some new moderators that will be popping up in the chat here, and
I got the wrong person.
one of them.
I do that every time.
Did you get the wrong person?
Yes.
What'd you do?
I got Madfish Diva. Don't worry, I'll undo it.
All right, you fix that
Eventually.
Okay.
Dan Squires is above and below Mad Diva.
Yeah, so we do have some new moderators here, and I would like to announce them personally on the live stream here while we do live streaming. Dan Squires, brand new moderator to the channel here, and Mellow Moogle, brand new moderator to the chat here, and also CNH Aquatics at some point in time, but I haven't seen them. But those two are here, so give them a shout out and just say howdy to them, and get yourself, acclimated to some new moderators moderating you if they might be moderating whatever moderation you need to moderate.
In moderation.
In moderation, whilst moderating and stuff.
Everything in moderation.
Even moderation.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are a couple of our new mods. I'd like to give them a shout out and say hi, and hopefully everybody out there had a fantastic weekend. I'm pretty sure everyone over there knows our special guest of the day. I was going to say he's the co-host, but he's not the co-host. He's our special guest. Whenever Corey is here, he's a special guest.
I prefer the term prestigious.
Prestigious guest.
Yes.
Prestigious
Yes.
guestus. And occasionally you'll see Jimmy in the background going to the freezer to cool off his jazz hands and his spirit fingers. So those are our special guests for today. And I just wanted to mention real quickly, to those of you out there that feel like this is what's the word? That this is turned into Real Fish Talk point 2.
0.2, not even 2.0, just 0.2.
0.2 or whatever,
it's like
right?
1/5 is good or something.
Then I'm sorry that you all feel that way. I'm enthusiastic to be on the show with Corey when we're here, or to have Corey on our show.
This way, you'll be back to the
here.
drought in no time.
What's that?
You'll be back to the Tacoma drought in no time.
Right. We'll be back to that in.
You'll be like, and today we have special guest Arrowhead.
That's right. Yeah,
oh, hi.
Special
hi.
guest.
How's it going?
We have a special guest video segment coming up. So we'll be getting back to that fairly soon. So don't you fret.
Don't worry.
Don't you fret.
You only got to hate on me a little bit longer.
That's right. I don't know that it's a. I don't know that's a hate. I think that I think people may or may not have been feeling the overdose of us together.
I feel it.
Do you feel it?
I feel the overdose.
Do you feel the overdosed?
You can only take so much of Joel's singing in a day,
That's true.
even in a week, really.
That's a good point. Right.
He likes to rock out.
Which you gotta rock out.
He must work out.
Must work out. But we're happy to be here. Like I said, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Did you have a good weekend? How'd it go? Did you do anything good?
Saturday was my live stream, and then Sunday I didn't really leave the couch, so it was a good one.
That's a good.
My rule was I couldn't come into the studio.
You couldn't come into the studio. You
On
stayed
Sunday.
in the main house.
Yeah.
And just.
Because there were things that need to be done, like I wanted to replumb that thing, but I was like, nope. If I go into the studio, I will work. And so, I mean, I worked from the couch. Don't get me wrong. I had a laptop the whole time. I did internet thingies, but it was less work. If it still worked though.
It was less work, but still, you just got to stay inside.
Yeah, me and the puppies, on the couch, relaxing and working on laptop. Jimmy was out frolicking.
Was he
trying
frolicking?
to make a video.
Making a video?
He was trying to, but then he was like, "It's raining."
Oh,
Yeah.
but it rained so bad.
Yeah, it rained on my stuff.
Vicky and I went and got a new freezer this weekend.
Ooh, do tell. Upright? Chest freezer? What kind?
Chest freezer. With the floppy
More
top.
efficiency. Yeah.
Floppy top. Yeah. So
27 cubic feet?
What's that?
27 cubic feet?
No. We actually...
13?
So we had a bigger freezer, and we ended up giving that to Vicky's mom. And then, so a friend of ours actually had an extra freezer that was a little bit smaller. It was easier to get into the basement. Vicky and I had concerns
I haven't been to your basement.
Vicky and I had concerns about whether or not we would have been able to get that big freezer into the basement.
Yeah.
So, which is why we ended up giving that one away. And we didn't want to have one out in the shop.
I'm battling with my wife with that right now.
To not have a freezer out here?
She wants it in the house. I want it out here because then we can remodel the bathroom and make it better. But we need that space to remodel it. And I say we don't use it that much. And she's like, I don't think you know how much we do use it. And I was saying, you're right. I don't really know. I don't think we use it that much, though. So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So if there's a divorce, it'll be over a freezer.
It'll be over a freezer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not fun.
Nope.
Okay. And then what else did I have going on this weekend? Oh yeah, Vicky's aunt was in town from Alaska. She's from the North Pole, Alaska. Literally, the North Pole, Alaska.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were just saying that.
No. No, actually North Pole, Alaska. North of Fairbanks up there. So
Wait, is the city actually called North Pole?
It's called North Pole because I think it's right near the...
So you could just send out like Christmas cards and stuff all day long and it's always from the North Pole?
Probably. If you had Alaska and not Canada.
I hope there's like a dedicated business up there that... Oh, we're getting a delivery. Hopefully Jimmy...
Oh my God, special delivery!
Go do that, Jimmy.
This is a delivery man ringing the bell.
No, go get the delivery, not stop the bell. He stopped the bell and it doesn't help the delivery. Anyway.
He did both.
I feel like there should be a business up there that all they do is send out
I wonder
messages.
if that's probably Jimmy's espresso machine that he was
That's
talking
right.
about.
Because that way if you got a bad grade in school, you might get a report card notice straight from the North Pole that says, hey, do better work or Santa ain't coming.
Or Santa ain't coming.
Just
Well, there
saying.
probably is a business that probably does that up there, I'd guess.
Because if there's not, it's going to be me. I'm moving there and I'm starting that business.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. We were, but I had some really good conversations with her. It was a lot of fun. It was good to see her. That's somebody obviously you don't get to see that often.
You don't see people from the North Pole
That's
very
a pretty
often?
It's a pretty far drive. You know what I mean? You know
Does she
what I'm
look
saying?
like an elf?
No. No.
I feel like that had to be asked.
She looked like a regular human.
Okay. Fair enough.
Very nice lady. Definitely had some interesting conversations because she's somebody that's She's somebody that's like pretty down to earth person. Like she, does a lot of her own gardening and her own food
At the
and all
North
that kind
Pole.
of stuff. Yeah,
I don't know why everything just seems.
it's just
Like
it's a
it can't
short
be true.
season. It's a short season, so you got to
Yeah.
be on the ball.
I guess.
You can't be slacking up there. Is what I'm saying. You can't just be like, I'll do that next week. It's like next week there's a blizzard, monsoon, cyclone bomb or something coming in.
Yes.
But
Was
very
it
cool.
something
That
awesome,
was fun.
Jimmy? Was it something awesome? It's black PVC. All right. We need that for the fish room build.
Black PVC. All right.
Yeah. All right.
So, good. Well, the black PVC is here, so that's
Yes.
good. Get those overflows dialed in.
That's right.
In case anybody's wondering how the build over there is going, it's coming
We're
along
making
pretty
a
well.
2-hour video on installing overflow in black PVC.
Yeah, you
2 hours.
real slow.
Yep.
Real slow.
Yeah.
So, what's going on here? What am I doing?
Are you breaking it?
Yeah, probably. It's
Yeah.
probably permanently broken,
Yeah.
I would guess. But I got to do my requisite hello to the people in the chat. I don't know who was first to the chat because I opened up this event yesterday. So I have candy overhauls on mine. I don't know who was first.
I don't even play that game.
Can't tell you who was first to the chat. I know that you don't play that game, but I play that game sometimes. But say hello to Candy Overhauls, Carson Anderson, Wushu Jimmy Brown, Magic Mom 21, Magic 21 Mom. Mellow Moogle, our new moderator. Charlie List is here. Daryl Dimer, that's your boy. That's
my
your boy. Shout out to
I
Daryl
still don't
Dimer.
know what his dog's name is.
Still don't know what the dog's name is.
I'm hoping
maybe,
to get it in the next super chat.
maybe we'll get it in the next super chat.
I mean, that's a little presumptive that he's going to give me another super chat, but
Steve Z?
no.
I'm going to guess
Dimer.
Steve Z.
Oh,
no, the name of the dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess Daryl.
Is it Daryl and Daryl?
Yeah. What if he's just ultra cool and he's like, no, man, I just named my dog Daryl. My name's Daryl. My dog's name's Daryl. You got
Everybody's
something
just
wrong
named
with that?
Daryl.
Yeah. That's genius. I'm naming my next pet Corey.
The next pet, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. You're just going to be Corey.
Yep.
Corey.
With a K, of course.
Corey.
Let's not make it confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Borg Aquatics is here. Steven Skoglund, what's up? One of our longtime supporters, along with Phil Emerson, Jeff H., Heather Varuna Aquatics. Doubling up on names here. Don't want to double up on names.
Here's the real name question. Is it C&H Aquatics? Is that the one?
Mm-hmm.
So I can mod him.
C&H Aquatics. There he is. Sai himself. Yeah. So we got that. So that's
Boom,
all three.
shalaka-laka-laka-laka.
That's all. Yeah, there we go. All three of our new moderators
Yeah.
in line there. I also see the fish nerd here, Melissa Byers, Jack Betts, Nick K, JP Horror, Aqua Apprentice, Martin Bull, Jennifer J. Sarchicino. There you are. I haven't seen Jennifer J. in a little while. It's good to see her. John Russell, Andy 70 Volkswagen Bus.
While we have Jennifer, I'm not. Well, no, that's not true. I'm intentionally ignoring your friend request because I don't friend people. So I get so many requests every day, and so it always.
Oh yeah, I've heard you talk about that before.
Yeah. So like I get a lot every day, like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't take it personal that I'm not friending you. My wife and myself, we have a rule that I at least this is to even be considered. Like I have to meet you in person at least, and then maybe even my wife, because she posts a lot of stuff from our family and that kind of stuff, and she doesn't necessarily want just everyone to be like, because all of her Facebook profile stuff is like only people that she's friends with and they like or whatever. So it gets too involved, and I said, okay, there can be one space where I don't let the entire internet into, and that'll be the Facebook.
Right.
So I just felt bad because I saw that one come through, and I'm like, oh, seems like a plenty nice person, but I kind of just got this weird rule.
Yeah.
So.
You got the face page privacy settings.
I don't know if they still have the limit of 5,000, but I easily would have been capped at 5,000. It used to be private pages 5,000. I would have hit that like a year ago.
Right.
So then I wouldn't even be able to like friend like, oh, we met and I actually need to talk to you. Nah, sorry, I'm already maxed out. And if I delete someone, they're gonna be real mad.
Yeah, you just got it limited to the in-person people.
Yeah, people I actually know in
The
person
actually-
that it makes sense. And there's people I meet you know, there's people like, well, we met in person. You said you're friendly. Like, no, that's the potential. Like, just because you wandered in my store doesn't mean you got a key to my house.
Right.
You know, so anyway.
Yeah, Facebook can be a weird situation. I don't know, I had commented on a friend of mine's post,
Crazy.
and a bunch of people chimed in that I was mansplaining. I got told that I was mansplaining
What is
somebody.
the definition of mansplaining?
It's not good.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
I'm unaware of mansplaining, so.
I can tell you that. I could tell you it's not good. Where it's like, I think the perception of mansplaining is that like, you're a man trying to tell a woman how it is or whatever, how something is.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
So you're like,
Does that sort of make sense? But
Yeah.
it's sort of like calling you a misogynist or
Yeah.
you know, it's just it's a way for somebody to be like, you're wrong because you're a man. And it's like, well, you asked a pretty general question.
how do
right?
you make a burrito?
Yeah, it's like, well, you put the tortilla on the outside, and like, oh, you're mansplaining with your man stuff. And you're like,
I try not to get drawn into anything on
oh, I
Facebook.
deleted that. I deleted that whole thing. I'm just like, dude, what? All right,
There are
whatever.
literally members
I'm
of
out.
my family that I have hidden from myself because they end up trolling me into the depths of the internet of like, must correct errors, and then I lose my whole day.
Oh yeah,
So
that's why I was
I-
just like,
yeah.
no, I'm out. See you later.
Facebook is a business tool for me, pretty
Cool.
much only. Yeah.
Right.
So
Let's catch up on the chat here a little bit. We got some super chats here, and not to say that we aren't going to answer super chats, just to let you all know, this is a new 2-hour format. So in the past, I used to answer the super chats at some point in time, which eludes me when
and
I used
now
to get to it.
he'll answer them at some point in time as well.
And now, from the first hour, we'll answer them a half an hour in. So at the 3:30 mark, we'll answer those ones from the first portion, and then at the 4:30 mark, we'll jump into them again if we have other super chats. So just not to let people know that, or I guess to let people know that we appreciate them. Thank you very much. We don't just jump on them right away. But we
Jump
do
on it.
definitely get to them though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. KG Cichlid says it's raining. It's raining tetras and dovi over here in California.
That's a problem that takes care of itself, really.
Got a notification from a friend of mine that it was earlier today that it was going to rain in LA.
Is that...
They were acting like it was a big event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like,
I mean, I'm sure they're stoked for anything that's not fire.
I think you're right. I guess maybe if it isn't going to light you on fire, they're
Yeah, it's
probably
not... I mean,
pretty zazzed for
as
it,
long
right?
as you say it's not raining fire currently, that's
It's-
probably like a... All right, that's a nice change from last
Yeah,
month.
liquid flaming
Mm-hmm.
acid from the skies.
Yeah.
Oh, the gyro pump kicked back on or something.
We're at a different time slot, man.
Uh-oh, he's got a new coffee device.
Oh no, now Jimmy's done it. Jimmy is becoming a professional barista again. Oh my gosh.
He's got his Chemex.
What is
can.
that, a decanter?
It's a Chemex.
A Chemex. Did you, okay, here, let's, it's time to make fun of Jimmy. Did you only buy that because Peter McKinnon has one?
Hell yeah!
at least he admits it and embraces it.
Yeah, at least he admits
All right,
it and went
fair
for
enough.
it.
That's the only way I knew what that was from Peter McKinnon. So,
Right.
all right. Just wanted to get your fanboying straight.
I desperately want, after the Peter McKinnon video of the Canon 6D Mark II,
Yeah.
I was like, I want that camera so bad.
Oh, I want it super bad too, but I just dropped $2,000 on a different camera. So
Uh-oh. What's
I'm
that
waiting.
for?
Where's
film and fish. It is for unboxings.
Yeah, for
and
filming fishes.
it's in theory to be really good at filming fish, but not good at filming. Well, I'm not gonna say not good. Not the best camera for filming other stuff.
Other stuff? What other kind of stuff? Like football practice?
No, it would be good for that.
Oh,
it
it'd be
would
good
be
for
good for
football?
that. It wouldn't be
Okay.
good for like portrait. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So it would be anything you didn't want.
Like broadcast is not good?
Yeah,
broadcasts.
it would be good for that. Even though I read a bunch of articles on how broadcasting is changing, and
Oh,
now they're
yeah.
using depth of field or you know
They
what?
use prime lenses on
Yeah.
broadcast.
Now they do. They're getting crazy now.
They're getting crazy.
That's why it was hard for me to find this camera, because they're basically like, yeah, everyone just pretty much assumes bokeh's better, even though it's. And then I finally found on the internet where people are actually talking about depth of field, both near and far, and how it was actually very useful. But everyone just thinks that bokeh is amazing, and so manufacturers like just make more bokeh because people will pay more money for more bokeh, where they don't pay more money for less bokeh, which is what I'm trying to do. I want the least amount of bokeh possible. I want everything in focus all the time.
Everything in focus all the time.
That way you can have 20 tetras on the screen and they're all in focus instead of like the super advanced cameras we have now where one tetra is in focus and the other tetras are out of focus, and I think that's inferior. For when you're trying to show 12 fish in a tank, I'd rather have all 12 look in focus than one.
All right.
If we're doing macro shots, it's another thing, but it basically means we need like 3 cameras. You know, they all do different things well. Blah, blah, blah.
I see what you mean. I see what you're on about. But let's bust into our topic here a little bit since it's the beginning of the show.
All
and
right.
we'll get on some follow-up questions after the fact. But, you know, you and I have been having pretty lengthy discussions about this topic for quite a long time, and that is how plants assist in the proper aquarium ecology, right?
I mean, I don't say it that fancy, but yes.
How do you say it? Plants is good, brah.
No, I say plants is nature's filter, man.
Oh, plants is nature's
Filter.
future.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Plants is nature's
My thing is
filter. That's how you go.
if nature can use plants instead of electricity, essentially, in theory we can do that too, but it comes down to how much work we want to do. And so I think there's a happy balance between using some electricity and gadgets and using nature.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So where you were at was if we use electricity. I'm confused about what you said. So we use electricity.
Right, and nature doesn't have to use electricity because it just
Right.
relies on plant filtration, but the sun always comes up, the sun always goes down.
Right. So
That
you
doesn't
always have the
necessarily
sun as the
happen.
power source.
Right, where it's like, well, without any power, you really don't, like, lighting an aquarium is much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just is. And you got to worry about overheating problems if you put it directly in the sun and stuff like that. So, you know, while I make the statement of nature don't need no electricity, it does it with plants. We as hobbyists probably have to hybridize that system a bit to make it practical. I mean, it could be done
Right.
where it's like, okay, everyone put in a 5,000 gallon aquarium and just take out one of the walls of your house, let the sunlight naturally do it, and we'll balance it around that. But that's not a practical thing when we're talking about, well, what about a 30 gallon tank?
I want to add the portholes.
To what, go inside?
Yes.
All right.
Like old-timey portholes.
You just open it up and let the water out as you climb in.
Yes.
Well thought through. I can tell.
Sounds like a good plan,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, plants, they are the OG filter, and we're using electricity to make it easier. As in, I could buy a filter, it could process some nitrates, but plants already do that for us. But plants require some skill, and I'm not even sure it's skill, but knowledge. Whereas a filter, somehow it doesn't need, like with a filter, if you never learn, eventually it starts working.
Right.
Like, because you'll just be like, well, I killed fish for 6 months, and then they stop dying because you got enough bacteria, whether you knew that's what happened or not. Whereas if you just buy plants and they keep dying and you never learn about them at all, they don't just start working one day. So that's where it takes a little bit of skill, where a filter technically takes none, because eventually it will autopilot to it's doing something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because you could eventually just, with just the water filtering through a filter or cycling through a filter would eventually just get bacteria in it.
Yeah.
Which is one of those big questions that I've gotten a lot of times. They're like, how do I get the bacteria going? And you're like, I mean, it's around us. It's all over the place.
He's got the bazinga, as I would call
It's
it.
got a bazinga.
Yeah.
It's got a bazinga super
Bazinga.
chat.
Whoa, that's a color I hadn't seen.
It's bright red.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. It doesn't even have a question.
Baller status.
That's a baller status way to say hello.
I need to do that.
That's a baller status way to say hello.
What if it's not even hello? What if it's like a stop sign? Maybe that's why it's red.
Oh, just like stop whatever we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Well,
And
thank you
why
very
the
much.
137?
Okay, it's over $100, so I'm gonna stop the show for just a second.
Stop the show.
Not that I'm not gonna answer the other super chats, but this was
Right.
$100, and there's not even a question on it.
$137.
So we're just gonna say hi to Melissa Blue for the $137 super chat, and I'll get
Gangster.
Jimmy's calves over here for a
Yeah,
second.
did we get a calf
He's
shot?
wearing his shorts.
Ooh, look at that
Ooh.
calf. Look at that calf. Man,
Hot damn!
that's how we're going to get to 200,000 on my channel, is those calves.
That's right.
Calf action shots.
Calf action shot.
I'm just going to get him on a Stairmaster.
I think Melissa Blue must have just been doing a calculation to get to the 137. Is what I'm guessing. Is like, what is it actually worth? Somebody, because at one point in time, somebody said like, what is the show actually worth? And then you got kind of go like, I don't know, but maybe it takes a long time. You got to like kind of figure it out. Like this one was worth 43 cents. That one was worth $2.86.
I actually think this is the case.
What's that?
This show today is worth that.
This show
Like
today.
we brought it so good in the first
Specifically.
18 minutes.
The first 26
The best
minutes
of our work we've ever
was-
done.
was so good.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I could say this is easily the highlight of my career.
Is it the highlight of your career?
Yes.
It's up there.
We talked about the North Pole. I mean, it's pretty good.
Now we've got. Well, now we've got. What's the word? What was it?
Nachos?
No, I was trying to. I just like. I had a thought and then it just derailed right out of my head. What is that?
Maybe his coffee maker's on fire?
Just some kind of crazy beeping noises.
Yeah.
With a crazy coffee maker in the background.
Usually I assume it's you and your electrical tester. What was that sound, Jimmy?
What's that?
All the beeping.
I hear any beeping.
I think your espresso maker's on fire.
I think we all died.
Yeah. See? What was that?
What was that?
I just yelled in the mic. I
Was
apologize.
that me? It might have been me. Oh, it was me.
See, I thought it was you. Because I hear that every show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gets poked in my pocket.
Yeah.
Well, either way, thank you, Melissa. We don't have a question to answer, but hopefully it'll sit right up there in the super chat action
Yeah.
for the
It's
whole
leading,
show.
It's leading the way.
It'll be up there for quite a while.
Leading the way.
So cool. Like we were talking about, we do have the what were we talking about? The ecology of plants and stuff. Why they're really important in plants. And somebody. So 2 questions that people were asking in the chat was, I want 5 2-hour shows a week. Dank Tanks was asking. And there is 5 2-hour shows a week now. Typically, I'll be on here on my channel by myself, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Corey and I will be on The Real Fish Talk. So,
Yes, I'll
you
be
know,
in attendance.
as the promotion of The Real Fish Talk, let's see, the 15th is the inaugural run, I believe.
I mean,
we have it
that's
scheduled.
that's what you said. You can make it. I'm in
Season 2?
disbelief. We're gonna make it.
Season 2.
Yes,
Melissa Blue sales for my legs.
she did say that.
And she said the legs made it worth it.
Okay.
That's different.
Jimmy reads it how Jimmy wants to read
That's
it.
right.
He just goes, "Oh yeah, look at that." Mm-hmm.
Oh, then Melissa says legs make it worth the money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll if it all comes together over there by the 15th, I'm gonna be super stoked. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think we got a lot of long nights ahead.
There's stuff to do.
Oh yeah, there's definitely stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that is the goal, and I think our first guest will be Rob from Flip Aquatics. He's
Rob from Flip
He's
Aquatics.
landing at my house on the 18th, so
Will be
now we
our-
really have a deadline.
Rob from Flip Aquatics will be our first.
In
Our first
guest.
Is that crazy?
That's awesome.
Is it awesome?
Crazy.
It's awesome, crazy, awesome. He better bring some shrimp in his pocket. That's all I'm saying.
Could be. Could
You know
be.
how long he's been talking to me about hooking me up with shrimp and stuff, and then,
If my
and then
monkey-
he
my
like,
uncle could bring a monkey.
and then he like gets in his 4x4 truck and like drives around out into the wilderness or something. Like right after he like hits send on the email, and then like drives off into space or something. So
Yeah.
hopefully he brings some shrimp. Maybe I'll call him and see what he's doing. He always answers his phone if you call him. He's like, oh hey, and you just hear like nonsense in the background. Like, what are you doing? Like,
You could do it. Call him right now.
I can't-
Get him on the
I'm
show.
not gonna call him right now. That would put him on the spot because we'd be recording him, and technically,
Yeah, just say, you're on the Corvus Oskin show. I heard you coming in on Thursday. Is that true?
maybe I'll do that on Wednesday when I
All
don't
right,
have a
there you
guest.
go.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe I'll call him on Wednesday
Do it.
and be like, hey man, what are you doing?
And
You'd
it'll
be
be
like,
like, trying
What?
to get ready to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you pack your bags, bro?
So JH Aquatics said he's ready to buy a plane ticket. You just wait, buddy. We're going to send out a big thing to most YouTubers to say, like, hey,
Mhm.
if you make it to the studio and we don't hate you, you can be on the show. Which you qualify. We don't hate you, and you could buy a plane ticket. So
JH Aquatics can definitely come up anytime.
yeah.
And come stay at my house. Well, maybe not my house.
See, that's the weird part.
He's too good looking to stay at my
Yeah,
house.
that's the weird part is like the logistics of hotel and that kind of thing, and
It's a
definitely
little
gotta
better.
plan.
It's a little better up here in the north end because there's some more reasonably priced hotels up here,
Maybe.
like the Embassy Suites. Like, I mean, what's that? Like 15 miles from here, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
but
kind
it's still like $110 a night at least or something.
That's
I
true.
mean, it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap, man. Well, that's why we want to get a cot out here, and eventually we want to build a bathroom out here
Mm-hmm.
so that the guests could well, let's pull a roll-out mattress underneath the 800 gallon, and then that's the thing is you got to sleep under there and not have it collapse and die on you, and then you can be on the show.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to sleep directly under the
Yeah.
the 800 gallon.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all down the pipeline. I don't know. I bought some more stuff for the show. It's now that because I thought we were not even close, right? But if you're gonna, I gotta order computers and all kinds of stuff. It's go time for me too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but hey, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's coming up.
I
One
mean-
week from now, we're gonna have our inaugural season 2.
Season 2 does start.
Season 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Ooh, that means we have to leave a cliffhanger. So like if Monday is the last episode, we got to leave it like a cliffhanger for season 2.
Thursday would be.
Isn't Monday? Monday would be the last. Or I mean Tuesday would be the last one, right? Oh no. Wait.
The 15th
Okay.
is Monday.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So we'd have to leave.
So Thursday, we got to do a lot of work by Thursday then, because yeah, we got to cliffhang it somehow.
we got cliffhanging to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Scott, I actually just read a comment here from Scott Bell. It said, "Hey Joel, I've been watching all your old videos and have been liking them, all of them. Love the old videos and how they progressed and evolved. Corvus Oskin for life." I've noticed that there have definitely been some people, and I think Scott must be one of them, that have been going through and watching a lot of the crazy old videos. I did get I got a comment on the video I did with when I hit 500 subscribers, which was like 6 years ago, I think. And yeah, I do have to admit I'm a little different than I was 6 years ago. Namely,
Slightly.
I'm pretty sober now, which is pretty good. I think I'm taller now too. I think I got taller.
I think you got less tall. You have less mohawk.
I think I got taller.
Yeah.
I think I got taller. That's what I'm guessing.
Your ego
probably-
got taller.
What's that?
Your ego got taller.
My ego got taller? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now I feel like I'm
That's
full
not
of
a
it.
bad thing.
Am I full of it?
No.
Oh. I guess sad.
I mean, I've got a pretty big ego, but I use it for good, not evil.
Right.
Yeah.
You use it for good, not evil. Okay, well, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But I guess we'll hop back onto the topic. I guess I just read that. I just read that comment, and I realized that it is still kind of the new year for a lot of people. We got new seasons. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming up, which is pretty cool. And so it was like one of those things that was the reason I read that and was like, oh, Yeah, the progress is big time. So that's one thing that I'm definitely appreciative of, and those types of comments are really appreciated. Honestly, I get like when I go back and look at like really old videos like that, I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of embarrassed like how crappy that is, and like, eesh, you know, I'm just kind of a disaster and stuff like that.
Eh,
But
as long as you take it in context.
but I've left them
for the
up there.
time of the internet
I've left
and-
them up there on purpose, just as a reminder to myself too that like, oh yeah, like I've definitely put in a ton of work to get where I'm at this point, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely awesome. You know, not even just to mention like just being at our house, you know, with Vicky, our life together, all that stuff, just being at our house and going like, oh man, it's our house. We live here. We're paying the mortgage on this thing, you know. So it's pretty big, pretty cool. Normalizer says 213 watching and only 83 likes. What's up with that?
219 watching now.
219 watching. Oh my gatos. What was our concurrent so far?
That's what I meant, I guess.
Oh, 219.
Sorry. I ruined it.
Oh man.
I'll learn it by Monday, Tuesday, whatever day it's going to be.
But so the conversation that we kind of started out on, and as we are always loose, you know, we're always Corey and I. We're always pretty loose with our
It's
conversation.
because the conversation never stops between us.
It just really doesn't stop.
Yeah.
We just keep going. So
Sometimes we turn the internet off, but the conversation
That's
doesn't
right.
actually stop.
right. We
Yeah.
just turn the internet turns on, and then the internet turns off.
I mean, half the day is me going, "Did you see this?" And then you go, "Yeah, I saw that." Like, okay, fine.
yeah, I saw that. I know what Star Wars is, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know. Apparently,
It's a thing.
yeah,
It's
I'm
ongoing.
told. Yeah,
It's a thing. Yeah. Somebody told me it was a thing.
yeah. I wasn't aware.
But I guess the first segment that we talked about of the ecology with plants and stuff would be the filtration portion.
Yeah.
Just like how helpful plants are with filtration, because that's just sort of what they do. It's like their thing. It's essentially their food, realistically.
They
when you
do
get
more
down
than
to it.
filter too. Like
Mhm.
more than a filter. Like they can take out heavy metals
Mhm.
and all kinds of stuff. Like they can. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like this is true. I think they can absorb like fluoride and stuff. Like,
Fluoride?
I think they can literally scrub water down to. Well, given enough time, like RO water, essentially, in a long enough period. I bet you they can
I think
scrub everything
I
out.
think essentially that's like the theory, but I think typically they like old growth from the plants and stuff breaking down back in to
Yeah.
the water. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like old dying leaves and stuff like that. That I think it would just keep
But
it.
if you're perfect, it leaves don't die, man.
Maybe they just live forever.
I know people say that on the forums where it's like, well, in a perfectly balanced tank, you'll never have a leaf die ever. Like, okay, sure, yeah, okay.
What,
but-
like they don't go through seasons? Like, come on.
well, I mean, in theory, there is no season in the aquarium because you'd keep all the parameters the same. That being said, even with the Pontigitans that are seasonal, they still die back. Explain that one.
Because there's
Yeah.
still seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a certain amount of time they're going to grow for. They won't just grow forever. They go to seed.
I'm just saying, some people say if you're doing it perfectly, you'll never have a leaf
Well,
die,
it's
and
like-
they would never re-enter the system.
Right, but I think that that's most people just being confused on the actual life cycle of a plant going to seed or not. Like the
True.
bamboo forests, they only go to seed once every 48 years.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Don't they propagate by runner under the...
Yes, they propagate.
But they'll go to seed
They
as
go
well.
to seed once every 48 years.
How long does it take that seed to hatch?
And the rat infestation
Yeah.
through
How
the
long
roof.
does it take that seed to hatch?
That I don't know. 8
Because I'm
weeks?
wondering, like, is
8 weeks, 9
okay.
weeks.
Well, not that. I was wondering if it was
The whole
like
forest dies. It all goes to seed.
I
and it all
was
dies
wondering if
off.
it was like a response to like fire or something like that, where it could like endure a fire and it stays dormant, and like because there's plants that can only grow once they've been on fire or something like that.
What's that?
Just in nature, there's plants
Oh.
that like they only get activated like once they've been on fire.
Yeah,
Essentially.
like firs and stuff like that. The
Yeah.
pine cones won't open. There's two ways that they'll open: manual removal, which namely is like squirrels,
Yep.
chipmunks,
Mm-hmm.
timber tigers. Gotta watch out for timber tigers. So manual removal, they'll go that way, or a fire will, forest
Yeah.
fire will come through and they'll all pop open and reseed.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like once every 48 years is a pretty random number, but I was like, maybe they just don't hatch until they catch on fire, and then that would make sense. Like, oh, maybe it only needs to reset every 48 years. because that's
The
burn
bamboo,
cycle or
yeah, because the
something.
bamboo is weird, and most people don't realize that bamboo is actually a grass. It's actually grass.
Is that why it goes subterranean to reproduce like grass would? All right,
Yeah,
fair enough.
it's actually bamboo is actually a grass, and that's why it grows so quickly. It's essentially like a giant form of grass. So even like the grass that you have growing out there, like most people have growing in their front yard, if you let it grow like a little bit and then go, when it's like this tall, you can like pull a chunk of it out and walk over to bamboo and like look at it and compare the two, and you're like, oh,
All right, all right.
but it actually is. It's pretty interesting how the cycle on that stuff goes. So I think that's normally what people are confusing, is they're just confusing the plant cycle of it going to seed with the fact that it'll just grow forever. Like, it'll grow forever. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you had it growing for 4 years, it might feel like forever, right?
Right.
But maybe that's a plant that only
But maybe
goes
the
to
life
seed.
cycle is 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years or 8 years or something like that,
Okay.
and then it'll go seed, which is like Anubias is a great example where it's like, my Anubias is flowering, and some people are like, I've never had it flower before, and it's like, well, just wait. Eventually, it will. If you have good, I mean, if you have good parameters for the Anubias, it'll like flower. Like I have my Bucephalandra, Bucephalandra.
Is that the real way to say
It's
it?
Bucephalandra. Yeah,
Well, I refuse.
it's like cafe, Bucephalandra.
Bucephalandra is how I say it.
Buces? You say buces?
I don't say that.
Oh,
I say Bucephalandra.
I got the boost. I got the boost. You know what I mean? And
It's all about that buse.
that one of them actually flowered the other day. I think I got some shots of it. I don't know if I put it
Get
on the
action
live stream
shots?
or not yet, but actually, some sweet action shots.
Yeah.
Some sweet action shots of the old the boost flower, right? Which was pretty cool. But I think, I think realistically, what most people are thinking that like, oh, these plants will just like never have a dead leaf or never have any of that kind of stuff is really just because they might be confusing the actual life cycle of the plant, or maybe they just don't know. And they're like, well, it didn't.
I would
didn't
say
seed
I
in the
don't.
fall.
I mean, I would say I don't know most of the plant life cycles. Like I know
I
Apontigitans
don't.
because it's really apparent of like, that thing done died. Why did it die? Oh, let me do the research. Oh, that's why it dies. But other than that, like, I couldn't tell you how many months on Anubias or years, and same with Java Fern and most crypts, and
Right.
I'm not convinced that actually exists. Actually, I mean, it might
What?
in a journal somewhere, but I don't know that there's
Oh,
been
that there's
enough
like a
research
a
on
periodical
enough
somewhere?
crypts or something like that to be like, oh, Cryptwind Deadeye is.
I'm sure you
this.
could. I mean, I know that like the bamboo thing, like they only documented that like 5 years ago, 6 years
But I have
ago.
a feeling like that has some kind of like agricultural money behind it, whereas like
No.
aquarium plant is
No.
just
It had no money behind it. There was actually some scientists that were trying to investigate the rat population, because there was always this myth. There's like this urban myth, like a wives' tale.
But there was still money behind it because of the rats.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah,
It's in Cambodia.
yeah.
right.
So big dollars.
Big dollars,
Yep.
huge international money signs,
Mhm.
right? No, but that was there was this wives' tale that they were investigating, right? That once every 50 years, the rat population,
The rat plague.
it's basically like a rat plague,
Yeah.
right? And they were going like, the scientists were going like, well, I don't know, this is kind of nonsense. And the last time it had happened was like 50 years ago, and they were, or at the time, so maybe this documentary came out 5 years ago, so it was like 7 years ago when it happened.
Sure.
But at the time that it happened, the guy that had been interested in it had been like, well, I heard about this like 40 years ago, and it's never, it's never, what's the word? It's never happened until this guy was alive. So you have to think like, he heard about it when he was like 30, and then by the time he went, he was like 70, right? so you're like, okay, and he went and he was like, oh my God, it's real, because the rats started breeding in this crazy cycle because
So
there was
wait.
unlimited food because the rats were
Okay, but
eating.
they bred after.
What's that?
They bred after
Well, no,
thing.
because the bamboos start dropping these seed pods.
Right. So they bred after because I was getting mystified when you were like, they started breeding before it happened. I was like, well, how would the rats know? But no, the pods already started dropping.
Well, they already do at that time of year. They already start breeding because it's the time of year that they'd be breeding.
Mm-hmm.
So what ended up happening is that in a typical rat breeding cycle, they'll breed, have babies, and then not breed again until the next year, right? But the moms went, and obviously they don't think out loud or talk or anything like that, but essentially
They usually write
there's
it down
an
with
endless
their little
food
rat
supply.
hands.
There's an endless food supply that once they had their babies, they went, oh, we could breed again.
Yeah, their
So they
bodies are
bred.
probably like, hey, I got nutrition. Let's
So
do
they
this.
bred again and then
Yeah.
had babies, and then by the time the first
And those babies had babies?
Those babies
and those
started-
two babies had babies?
they started having babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, maybe there was 100,000 rats and then there was 150,000 rats, but they kept breeding again, so now there was 200,000 rats, but now the rats that were born from before were having babies, so it was just like dun 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 boom, and it was just there was rats everywhere. But that was all just associated with that one plant and realizing that it only seeds once every 48 years, or and I think 48 years is right. It might be 58 years. I think 48 years is what it was, but it might have been 58. It might be off.
There's a fish that does that too, basically. There's a fly that only like breeds or something like once every 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when they do that the fish spawns because there's so much food available. I remember reading about it. I don't know what species of fly, or I'm not even sure it's a fly, but a bug, and then the fish itself. But I did know that they only breed like every 6 years because of that extra food source that would normally have been there. So kind of crazy. I mean, it's not the 48-year cycle, but 6 years is still pretty long.
It's still pretty long, especially for a
Yeah.
fish, that like,
Mm-hmm.
you just got to hang out for 6 years before you get to breed.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll jump back into this ecology discussion, but let's answer some super chats here real quick before they start.
Chupa Chups.
Some chupa chats.
Chupa Chupa.
Some chupacabra chats,
Mhm.
right? Before they start dropping out of the chat here. And let's see if Corey can pull them
I
up.
could bring up the old Super Chat loud.
'Cause mine dropped out.
I'll put it like up here.
There we go. All right, so a super early super chat.
Yeah.
This was before even the show was live. Super chats before the show was even going.
Yeah, he put it in early because he wanted to answer at the beginning.
I like that. James C 1400292.
That's his social security number
That's the beginning part of his social security number.
in the UK.
Oh, the UK has short
Pound.
social security. yeah, because he's got a £2 super chat asking any advice for breeding rummy nose tetras.
Brutal. It's not easy.
It's not easy being rummy nose.
It's not easy raising those fry. Like
Oh yeah,
it's not gonna be like there's okay, that's not really advice, and then there's gonna be advice. So then that's not really advice is breed any other fish on the planet, sell those and buy rummy nose tetras. That makes you rummy nose tetras faster. But if you're like really like, oh man, I want to spawn rummy nose tetras, drop the pH, set them up over marbles, and have your infusoria game on point because
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what they're gonna
for
have
sure.
to eat, and then you're gonna have to step them up on foods, and they're gonna take like 18 months to get them to size of what you'd buy at a store. So lots of work to do it, and then I haven't done it, so I can't specify whether the light sensitivity is going to be true on those eggs compared to neon tetras and stuff like that or not. But there's a reason why, like, you'll probably never meet anyone in your life that has spawned rummy nose tetras, and it's just because it's not that it's undoable, it's that the reward for doing it is so little. Like I have met one person that has spawned a bunch of neon tetras purely
Okay.
on the I wanted to do it.
just want to do it.
Yeah, they were very accomplished breeders, lots and lots and lots and lots of aquariums, and our water here makes sense to do that. Whereas, like, I don't know James' water, but if you have hard water, it's gonna be a lot more work than like here. We can do it with less work, but it's still a lot of work.
I've only done it accidentally.
With the rummy nose?
Yeah, with rummy nose.
'Cause I've done it with lots of
and-
other tetras accidentally, but
with rummy nose and neon tetras.
Hmm.
Those are the two that I've ever had that I really had
Yeah.
for any kind of given point in time. And I'm thinking that whenever I had fry show up, it was like the only time I ever bred them was accidentally, realistically.
Yeah.
And they probably just scattered whatever into.
Because they'll breed
Some
like
moss
every
or
day.
something?
They'll breed like every day. So it's like, oh, here's a bunch of eggs, and then eventually, oh, look at that. There was enough infusoria for 2 to make it.
Right. There was enough.
But when it
little-
comes to like cranking them out, that's a whole. I mean, people set up entire farms just to crank out rummy-nosed tetras because it's so
right.
in depth of like, here's week 1, here's week 2, here's week 3, here's week 4, and you keep moving them to different life cycles, kind of in the shop, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah. I would say my practical advice would be start with at least doing like white clouds or cherry barbs, then move up to like tiger barbs and maybe like black neon tetras, then step up to like, all right, rummy nose game, let's try this, because I've learned and honed my craft a bit before that.
Okay.
It'll be the same process for all of those, but the ones I listed first, their fry are much bigger. And you're still going to be like, those are microscopic, but then when you see tetra fry, they're like honestly hard to see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
Like the eggs are ridiculously hard to see. Like a microscope or at least a magnifying glass makes it a lot easier.
Yep.
So,
The times that I've ever had it work, I was trying to think of some of the setups that I had. One of them was an old beta breeding tank that I used for breeding betas in, which meant that there probably was a lot of infusoria.
probably a lot of plants.
Probably a lot of plants.
Probably a lot of ecology of plants going on
ecology of the planted aquarium.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Very important for a lot of that stuff. I would definitely look into, like, if that's what you were going to breed, I would definitely look into making sure you have like a lot of moss growing and things like that, which actually can be pretty darn helpful for it. I would even take the consideration to at least having a separate tank with some green water growing in it, and then at the very least what you could do is dose that green water from that tank into the one. One of the things that makes it pretty rough on having a green water tank to do the breeding is like being able to see what's going on. If you have green water tank and you're trying to see what's going on, it's like, can't see through that green water, but that's realistically going to be your best bet for most things that
I mean, I guess we're skipping the stage of like splitting up the males and the females, conditioning them before you put them into the spawning tank, which would be its own tank. Like there's
right.
a lot that's going to go on to make this happen, and that's just why people aren't doing it. Is like it's a cool feather in your cap,
Right.
but if your goal is like to make money or to own a bunch of rummy-nosed tetras, breeding other things make more sense.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if you're going to do all that legwork, I would probably breed something that's a little more profitable, or at least more high valuable for like trading and stuff like that.
Rummy-nosed tetras, I think they have very good trade value, because I think you could almost approach any aquarist and be like, hey, I have 40,000 rummy-nosed tetras. Are you interested in some? I think most people are like, yeah, okay. But that's the only time where I think where you make money is like you got to have a factory set up.
Right. Well, I
Because
just
you're
mean
making
like if you're
2
going to
cents
do,
a tetra.
I just mean like if you're going to do that much work, just like how difficult it is to breed them.
Yeah. I
honestly would just put my energy into breeding something that was a little more valuable on the offset that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think at some point you had said like desirable or something like that as well. Which
Yeah.
I do think rummy-nosed tetras are very desirable.
I said like
tradable.
I said profitable, and then I was correcting myself, going like, well, it doesn't need to be a profit-driven situation, but I just mean like more valuable,
Yeah.
right? That you're like, oh, hey, you know, in my part of the world, it's impossible to get whatever, you know, some kind of plant or something, and you were gonna like trade, you know, then it's like if you're gonna trade, like, I got some sand I got off the beach. Still got shells and seaweed in it and stuff. It's kind of
Nice.
crappy. And then most people would be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to trade for that, really, you know. But if you're like, yeah, I got 100 rummy nose tetras, I think some people would be like, yeah. But if you had, let's see,
I feel like
2 leopard frog
Yeah.
plecos, and they'd be like, oh, huzzang! I already mailed it to you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, or some zebra plecos.
Mhm.
Oh, but I'm just thinking, like, legwork wise, it's probably as difficult to breed like the zebra plecos
I
as
would,
it would
I would
be.
wager it's easier.
I just mean like it might balance out with
Resource and all
initial,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
initial
yeah. Okay,
investment.
yeah.
Like maybe that's what equates it,
All
but
things told, yeah.
a lot less like personal time investment with
Mm-hmm.
the plecos and stuff. So that's kind of stuff that I would look at instead of going into a really, really difficult breeding situation.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, over the years, I've more often than not accidentally bred stuff.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, where'd these clown killies come from? Like, I sold those off 6 months ago. Who are these guys?
Well, it can be really easy to breed something on accident because let's say you naturally have 10 units of infusoria in your tank,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to all of a sudden make 100 clown killies. It's like, well, you need 2,000 units.
Right.
You know, and then you're like, oh, but I don't have that. Like, yeah, that's the thing. So small numbers, you might be able to do it. Maybe. But, yeah. Anyway, he's probably chimed in about 10 times now going, no, I just want, you know, and
What's that?
he's probably chimed in by now saying what he's actually trying to do, but I
Oh.
think we've covered most of those
It's hard to read the
bases.
chat. It's
Yeah.
hard to read the chat and talk and not accidentally say weird things.
Oh, for sure.
Like Melissa Coleman, Manzanita needs fire too. Like, like
Yeah.
sometimes I'd be like, oh yeah, rummy nose tetra need Manzanita leaves in their mouths to breed or something. You know, like so. But I
Manzanita grows
don't
infusoria.
see anything from them. But
All right.
if yeah, I would
If
say
we
I'll
haven't
look.
covered it or we didn't,
If we haven't covered it, stop back in and we'll
yeah, be like, hey, I want to know about this part.
Talk
And we're
about
like,
it some more.
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Cool. We have a $5 super chat from Aquatic Life MS. Now I don't know if MS is
I'm pretty sure it's short for MS Paint.
MS Paint,
Microsoft Paint.
Microsoft Paint.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
I was literally just thinking about a paint company when you said MS Paint. I'm like,
Do you
Never
even
heard of that
internet,
one.
bro?
do I have internet?
Do you even internet?
No. No, I karate punch.
Okay.
But I was asking, is Icax safe on fish fry? I have bristlenose pleco fry with ick, but raising rainbow fry in the same tank. P.S. If anybody wants to see them, check out my channel. All right.
So in my experience, Icax is safe for everything. And then someone will say like, no, one time it killed my thing that had ick. And then I say, all right, but what were you going to treat ick without using Icax?
Yeah.
Oh,
Karate.
well, I don't know how. And it's
Jiu-jitsu.
like- yeah, I mean,
I was
you
gonna
obviously...
choke. I was gonna get a chokehold around that fish
Mhm.
until he got rid of the ick.
I mean, you could try heat, you could try things like that, but you run your own problems there.
Mhm.
You're going to speed up their metabolism, which is a dangerous thing to do on fry for rainbow fish fry. You speed up the metabolism. Now it's
Yep.
even harder to feed them enough. But in my experience, one, I obviously try not to get ick on fry. That's like the first thing. But when you're in that scenario, if I ran into that, I'd be like, yep, time to do the Icax. Like I've used Icax and with breeding colonies and shrimp and all kinds of stuff, and
Mhm.
I myself have never run into a big problem with it using it with anything.
Right.
But you could be the first. It could be that your bristlenose plecos just happen to be extra sensitive, even though I've probably done it a billion times.
Right.
But you know, I never want to say something's foolproof when it comes to medicines because, you know, and I think people forget about this is even, you know, people are like, well, Corey uses Icax all the time. You could say like, oh, well, you know, Vicky uses penicillin all the time, and then you could take it and you could be allergic to it.
Right.
Like, and people go, well, pets don't do that. I'm like, really? Dogs have allergies and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying we've done a bunch of research, but I would not be shocked to find out fish have allergies and things like that, reactions that are different to other fish in their same species and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially line breeding, I definitely know, you know, you take an albino guppy that's been line bred super long time, it's way weaker genetically and stuff like that than,
Mm-hmm.
you know, something that's not.
Well, you guys know me. I'm super paranoid about I am super paranoid about putting chemicals into my aquariums.
I
Realistically,
typically load up with so many chemicals that I'm worried about putting water into them.
yeah, that's probably.
I don't want to dilute them.
It's a good play. You don't want to dilute them chemicals. But you know, I'm getting more and more. I guess maybe I was like, Okay, let me just answer just this question instead of rambling on like a madman. Yes, ICX is safe for fish fry. I've seen it used many, many, many times on fry tanks. I've also seen methylene blue used on fry tanks. I've also
In fact,
seen
it's intentionally used with fry and hatching out
right.
eggs and rainbow fish, and yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Methylene blue. I've seen Pimafix used on fry, and I've also seen Melifix. Those 4 I can verify.
With your own
Use
2
those
eyeballs.
on fry tanks, not a problem.
Yep.
So just to throw that quadrifecta out there, there isn't much else that you would really need. There are other. Now, before people freak out and go like, man, there's other medications. Yes, there are other medications. I understand.
But you hadn't seen them with your 2 own
I haven't seen those with my 2 eyes on fry.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, any of those other medications, the fry will probably just die, realistically, right? So if you needed to treat like dewormer or something, right, or like an antibiotic or something, right? Typically, that's probably just going to kill all the fry anyhow. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting.
I
at.
think where you've changed, and this could be, I could be wrong, but I myself used to adhere to the least amount of things going into my aquarium as possible is the best. But now my stance is, I still think that's the best, but when advising hundreds of thousands of people, that doesn't work because their husbandry isn't at the same level I'm at. So it actually is sometimes easier to be like, oh, you have an 8-year-old daughter that has fish and doesn't really know what's going on?
Well,
Probably this chemical is the right way to address that without killing that fish.
Well, it's like the same thing is that like, how many people I talk to about like, do you have a quarantine tank? And they're like, no.
Right.
And I'm like, well, how many aquariums do you have? And they're like, 15. I'm like,
Yeah.
one of them isn't a quarantine tank? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, I don't. Like, I can understand if you are somebody that had like one 8-gallon aquarium in your daughter's room that's a SpongeBob SquarePants aquarium, right? And you're like, her goldfish is sick, and I don't know what to do. You'd be like, okay, let me help you out. Let's treat him with some meds and see if we can't get him better, blah, 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 right? But then it's like, more often than not, it's like, I'll be talking to people that have like 15, 20 tanks, and I'm like, where's your quarantine? And they're like, no, I don't have that set up.
I think there's
It's got cichlids in it now.
I think there's a dangerous.
You're like, did you have a quarantine tank and then turned it into a main tank?
So that happens a lot, and I think there's a dangerous thing. Like if you watch my channel all the time, you'd be like, "Well, Corey never quarantines anything." If you look at my personal stuff, but people don't realize that
It's
everything
quarantined at your store.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
But even when that doesn't happen, everything in my fish room is quarantined because it goes into its tank, and it never leaves it.
Right in the quarantine here.
Right. So even the first fish to go into the 800-gallon tank, that is a quarantine tank. If you put all the fish in at the very beginning and never take anything or move anything around, that being said, I don't have a quarantine tank to take them out and then be like, oh, let me treat them here. I treat all of my tanks as pretty much one fish, one tank, nothing ever moves around. Like I set up tanks for fish, not like I'm going to go to the store today. Let's see what they got. Like for me, it's like, oh man, I want to build that tank, and this fish is already going to go in there. So, and I think just with the day and age of the internet, YouTube, we see that more and more and more, and be like, well, I watched someone buy a bunch of a fish, they put it straight into their tank, and it lived there forever. But that being said, they already knew that was the stock. They bought it all at once. They didn't need to quarantine outside of that because that is the quarantine tank. It's kind of like, buying someone's first car, and then it's like, well, yeah, you could buy a really crappy one so they learn how to drive, or after it's been your first car, maybe you just buy that car and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna drive in it now. Like I learned, so like maybe your first car ever, maybe you get a few dings and dents in it. But when you buy your first RV ever, you buy one based on, nope, this is the only one I'm ever going to need because I learned
Right.
from the previous times.
Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy70WVW Bus was saying, regarding medicine, I used fenbendazole to get rid of planaria in a tank with shrimp and mystery snails. Everything was absolutely fine for over 2 months, and then suddenly all of the snails died.
Yep. I was going to, before you even finished it, I was like, and then all the snails died, right? Yeah, that's, fenbendazole is shrimp safe, and most times we extrapolate that to be snail safe. That being said, it typically is a very slow snail killer. So I've found that with myself testing it, I've watched other people do it. It doesn't affect shrimp the same way, but so it takes out planaria really quick. Shrimp, not at all in my experience, and then snails slowly. So yeah, unfortunately, while safe for almost everything, not snails. Might also be toxic to like Daphne and stuff too, but I have no idea.
Right.
Never done that test. So
Never done that test.
I mean, I do live to do a lot of tests, but I just don't have like an excess of Daphne. Like, let's see how I can kill it. What does it withstand?
Yeah, fenbendazole. I definitely do not recommend putting that into tanks. I know that a lot of people have. It's not one that normally comes up on my list of recommended treatments. I normally find that there's a lot easier ways to get around it, and there are almost always problems down the line.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I haven't played with it enough. Like, in my career, I probably dosed it less than 20 times, which to someone might sound like a lot, but when you look at like, oh, how many times do you dose ICX? I don't know, 30, 40,000 at
Right.
least. Like every day I've worked multiple times. Oh, a shipment came in and we had 70 bags of fish. Well, I dosed at least 70 times that day.
Right.
So it's, it's one of those like, so 20 times is a very small, that would be like your doctor going, oh, I've only ever prescribed penicillin 20 times. Like, you wouldn't be super confident in how harmless penicillin may or may not be, where if you'd been doing it, oh, I've been prescribing penicillin for 20 years.
Yeah, and then you go
Like,
like,
then
well,
you
it's your
have a
fault
track
everyone has
record.
autism.
Yeah, exactly.
Doctors.
All my neon
gave
checkers are
everyone
blue because you
autism.
put them in ICX, and that's blue.
It's like when you gave everyone autism with your shots.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just the doctors that are, what's the word? It's not prescribing, it's diagnosing
Incorrect.
the autism now.
Yeah, it's glass half full, half empty.
Glass full. Full? Half full, half empty? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one. Hopefully that we answered that one. Josh Peters, my water out of the tap has a pH of 8.0, KH of 2, and GH of 4. API chest kits.
Mm-hmm.
Free plug. Is that a free plug?
Yeah.
If it's
As
a
long as
super
you-
chat, is it a free plug?
As long as you say free plug, it's a free plug.
Is it hashtag free plug?
Yeah.
But it was paid for by a super chat. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Man, we're in Inception right now, aren't we?
Gonna have to put that. We're gonna have to like write a report on that and figure it out.
Oh my gatos. How can I raise my GH and KH without raising my pH too high?
Bacon.
Bacon
Mm-hmm.
and hard-boiled eggs. Oh, I forgot my hard-boiled eggs, man. I
Were you
boiled
bringing
up.
them to me?
Huh?
Oh, you're bringing them to eat.
Yeah, did you want some?
I mean, I wasn't gonna turn them down.
Oh, you like hard-boiled eggs?
Who doesn't like hard-boiled
Oh, I
eggs?
made a dozen yesterday. I forgot to bring
I
them.
saw that. Patreon,
Yeah.
right? The patron, was it?
I ate 3 of them. I don't know.
No, it was your Facebook story, I think.
I don't
That's
know.
what
I think I
saw.
accidentally posted it to Facebook
Yeah,
story.
I saw. I was like,
It's like,
all
what
right.
happened here? I don't know.
I can think of a couple of ways to do battle with this GH and KH, but I don't want to steal your thunder. Do you have a way?
You know a way?
Yeah.
Epsom salt and baking soda?
That'll raise pH too.
Yeah, that will.
You can't raise the
Epsom
pH.
salt
That's what
won't,
makes
though.
it hard.
Epsom salt won't.
Correct. But it also, I mean, we can go down the technicality hole and be like, well, you can raise the magnesium a ton with that Epsom salt, but which part of the GH are you trying to raise?
Yeah, that's true.
But we're not going to go down that tangent. We'll
What do
just
you
say-
got then?
I would say
If you want to...
the best thing that I think most people have access to, CChem Equilibrium.
Oh, you think CChem Equilibrium's the best one?
Off the shelf, yeah.
Everyone thinks I hate Seachem. We can't recommend Seachem. No, I like
I can
Seachem.
recommend whatever the best product is. Like GH, you could also use Wonder Shell.
You know what's
but
weird?
That doesn't help with the KH.
Yeah, it's true. Well, the Wonder Shell would work for the GH, but the KH would be Epsom salt. But I guess, yeah, you're right. That does move.
Well, Epsom salt, or KH, is the alkalinity buffer. So that's the buffering capacity.
Oh, that's
which
right.
That's typically the good part of the baking soda. The problem is
Right.
that other part, which sends that pH all wacky high. I know there is.
Yeah.
What is it? So it's bicarbonate is what does the baking soda, but
I just don't
saltwater people
understand-
use
I just
not
don't
bicarbonate.
understand why
Or
if...
not sodium bicarbonate, something else.
Here's the thing. Like, here's what I would do, like, specifically if that was my situation, like with the 8,
Mm-hmm.
the pH of 8 coming out.
Yeah.
I would either just start cichlid tanks
Yeah.
or I would just RO the water and then run it with Katsapa leaves and peat moss in my sump
I'll tell you what I would
and
do.
in a planted
I'll
tank.
tell you what I would do.
That's what I would do.
I would do nothing.
Well,
That
that's what I
water
mean.
sounds
I would
sweet.
like either just use the 8
Yeah.
and go with that and just do what I could do with...
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that your KH and GH has to go up, even if you were doing Africans or Libears or.
Right.
I mean, maybe.
that water
like
is
even,
fine.
You know, you would want to drop the pH if you were going to do like crystal shrimp or something, but that water is actually, from looking at that structure, I'm not opposed to that water structure. You know, if you had like
Right.
10 GH and 6.0 pH, then you're like, dang, this is like the worst of all the worlds.
That's super weird.
But you actually have like a relatively neutral KH and GH,
Mhm.
you know, kind of right in the middle there. It's just your pH that's a bit out of whack. But especially if you were to use the ecology of a planted aquarium,
Oh, a callback.
because if you don't know this already, when you are converting, let's say, ammonia all the way into nitrates and stuff like that, it acidifies the water over time. Now, if you were to relax the water changes and stuff like that, you could get that pH down pretty low. Let's say it's 7.2, and then you do like 10% water changes every week. That'll bring a little bit of pH back in, and it'll replenish your hardness minerals and your buffering capacity, and you might be able to run it like, oh, sweet, I was really wanting to keep German blue rams or any other, you know, middle range neutral fish.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would accomplish that. That's why I'm always jealous with people that have much higher stuff in their water, whether it's hardness and pH and all
Yeah.
that. Because for me, it's easier to get that out with a planted aquarium, because that's all I run anyway, than it is to start with nothing and then get stuff in
I'm
there.
trying to get things added in.
Because it's really
Yeah.
easy for me. Like, I'll just do less water changes and fix my pH. But, like, if my pH isn't right on that 800 gallon, I got to add stuff in.
Mhm.
And there's no skipping. It's like I have to interact with it. So,
Right. Right.
like,
I
I would
think it's just
probably get some crazy system that used a pH meter and it only allowed the water change to happen if the pH dipped below 7.5. And the minute, like, it ticked back up to, like, 7.8 or 7.6 or something, it would
Right.
turn the solenoid off again. I would design that system. That's what I would do.
Right. That's what.
Because that sounds
what I would
wicked
do.
fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think realistically, like, I think Nana Force 2 is saying, in other words, it's a stupid question. No, it's not a stupid question
No.
at all. No, it's a great question, and I get it a lot. And I think one of the biggest things that I always struggle with trying to answer that question is like, people really want to change their water quality in a really quick way. That's the thing that I'm always like,
I'm
like
always,
you recommended
yeah,
Equilibrium. That probably is the best product around if you just wanted to have a
to only
bottle?
affect those two. And
right.
but like in the store, I was always like, so here's what you need, but why do you need this?
Right.
You know, it's like, because I'm
So I
pretty
think
sure
maybe
we
I
don't
always
need
I think
to
maybe
need
what
this.
the big confusion for me is like whether or not I just answer the question with like just what I would do.
Right.
Right?
That's the struggle we always have in the
Yeah.
shop, is like, do I tell them what I do, or do we solve their problem they're asking about? And I always feel that my store, at least, is based on, let us teach you what we do, and then if you're like, no, that's dumb, we can still help you with what you want to do. But a lot of times, I would say at least 8 out of 10 people are like, oh, sweet, that's a way better way to do it. I was just reading somewhere that I like, and I have no idea about Josh Peters here, but let's say a lot of times what we got is like, well, I was reading about I wanted to set up an African cichlid tank because I know my pH was 8, but I was reading about Lake Malawi cichlids, and it said they liked a KH and a GH of this, and so I was wanting to doctor that, but I didn't want to bring my pH up too much because Lake Malawi has a lower pH than Lake Victoria, or Lake Tanganyika. And so then you would just talk with them. You're like, oh, well, actually, you're just going to be fine, buddy. Just don't do anything.
Right.
And you're going to be rocking and rolling. But then there is, every once in a while, you'll get somewhere like, well, I've got Soda Lake cichlids that are crazy hard to get a hold of. I really want to amp that up because that's what they need. And then it's like, oh, yeah, well, in that case where you're going to do that, sure. Then this is how I would approach that. With Josh Peters' scenario, if I really wanted to add, to me, the hardness is great. I just want more buffer. I want a little bit more KH. I would use crushed coral and it would dissolve ultra slow since the pH is already that high.
Yeah.
But over time, as it would acidify from plants or whatever, it would dissolve in a little bit. And that's why I run crushed coral in everything, no matter what the pH is. Because if the pH... The good thing about KH and crushed coral is, if the pH ever does drop, by nature, it gets more acidic and eats the crushed coral and buffers it back up, both pH and KH.
Yeah.
If it never drops and you're going, dang it, but my crushed coral never dissolves. That's like having a security guard that like never had to shoot someone. Like, no, he's doing his job. That's exactly, it's perfect. You'd much rather have him there and never have an incident than not have it there and then have an incident. So it's like,
Right.
by not having to utilize it is a good thing. You know, it's kind of like saying, like, I'm so disappointed I never get to use my first aid kit. Like, no, it's plenty good just to have it and never need to use the first aid kit.
Right. I got this
Yeah.
huge first aid kit, bro. Cut your arm off.
And that's what the crushed coral is. It's that first aid kit. It's that preventative thing. And if you never have to use it, that's a perk. So, I wish. I mean, I have to use crushed coral all the time. It's getting used up. You know, it's like I got that first aid kit out every day. You know,
You got to get the crushed coral out.
I'm all thumbs. What are you gonna do?
Peter Thiel was asking, are you going on a vacation together? That picture was great.
Oh, today's?
I think it must be the thumbnail. People must be digging the thumbnail. We got a bunch of subscribers and stuff during the
Cool.
show here.
Good.
People must be enthusiastic about Monday shows.
Monday. Well,
People
Monday,
must be liking the 3 o'clock time slot. I think people like the 3 o'clock time slot.
3 o'clock.
What's up? Hey, Corey. Yeah. What time are we doing Real Fish Talk tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow. That's 3 o'clock.
Tomorrow's at 3 o'clock? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try it at the 3 o'clock time slot and see if there's a mutiny or if people are just like, cool, yeah, it's all the same for me, you know, whatever.
Right.
You know,
We're going
I
to do
don't
the
know.
Real Fish Talk at 3 o'clock.
Because I want to see how it jams my day up or unjams my day too.
Right.
Like I'm not a morning person, but I got a lot of emails and people to call and things to do in the morning. And then pretty soon, like by the time we're done with Real Fish Talk and it's like 1, I'm just like, oh, is this day over? Like the East Coast is shutting down. Like
Right.
that's bad. Or if I
Yeah.
got to call a different country or even just try and get a hold of them, they're like,
Yeah.
no, that ain't gonna work. So I
Like-
try to do it all in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I try to do everything in the morning too. That's why I figured we were doing Real Fish Talk at like 10 because I'm trying to do everything in the morning here.
yeah, get out of the way.
Get
you
out of the
know?
way, you know, like
Not
so
that
people
it's
can get
like
it
that,
early
but
enough.
yeah.
But yeah. But I think the 3 o'clock.
We'll
I think
see
the
how it
3
goes.
o'clock's gonna be good.
We'll
see
have
how
a
it
week
goes.
of data and then we'll plan
But-
accordingly.
Tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time will be the
Yeah.
Real Fish Talk.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow will be the inaugural run.
Yeah.
Okay. And Peter was asking, are we going on vacation together? Something to take note of that, people like Melissa Blue with the huge super chat today. Amongst the other super chats, thank you very much, you guys. Along with the Patreonizers, I posted up on Patreon the other day on Sunday because I did a short video again. We did a short video, you guys. I managed to get one done, and then it wouldn't be possible without the Patreon and stuff like that. And that is no joke. Like, I'm not even kidding. That the Patreon is, and everybody patronizing on there is huge. You know what I mean? It is huge that everybody is kicking in on there and just being part of the community and showing up and stuff like that. We actually got 2 new patronizers during the show.
Sweet.
Hoffles. Oh, one this morning, Daniel D'Amato, and then one during the show from Franduki. We got 3 new patronizers today and some new subscribers and stuff. Thank you very much, you guys. It wouldn't be possible to be able to like get the shorts out. to be able to do these long format shows, to like answer questions, to show up and do all this kind of stuff if it wasn't for that. And I think that's one of the things that like some people are like, what do you want me to do? Pay for your new Lamborghini or something? You know, and it's like, it's not a matter of that. It's like,
I'll let someone buy me a Lamborghini.
There is a trade-off point. Well, no, it's like the,
I know
what do you want me to buy you a new car? Huh? You know, and it's like, no. But there is a trade-off in time that like, you know, and you and I have talked about this before, so I feel kind of weird because, you know, we have to run over this every show a little bit, but luckily it's a 2-hour show now, so we can actually just occupy a couple minutes here, talk about what's going on, and then we can get back into the fish talk. But you know, you and I have talked about this a few times. It's like, it takes me like 3 hours to just get here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I leave at 6:30, I get here at 9:30 or like 9:15. Like, yeah, like it's going super fast.
Yeah.
So that's what's the word? That's like one of the things is that like it's a time trade-off to like do the work and stuff like that. And honestly, without the Patreon, without subscribers, without you guys showing up and all that kind of stuff, then it just wouldn't be possible. I just want to say thank you, and especially include that in Melissa Blue, because she didn't ask a question in her super chat. 137. That puts her in number 2 all-time biggest super chatters on my channel.
Yeah.
Only behind that guy over there.
Someone can still beat me.
They could still beat you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because 495 was the most I've ever seen.
Someone could throw down 496 and they would take the crown.
Somebody could do 496 and then take the crown.
And I got to be honest, I'm not sure I would try and take the crown back. But I'll tell you what, if I was going to do 496 or whatever, I would just do 500 so you could never lose the crown. It's worth the $5 more.
Well, maybe you're like a big time baller and you go 496.
Maybe it's a challenge.
And then you entice somebody into the 497 and then you're like, "Oh, 498."
Yeah, that could be.
What up?
That could be.
And then 499. Oh. But it's one of those things like, thank you very much for the super chats and all that stuff. The Patreon is the biggest thing. We've been you gotta honestly
support this guy. This guy lives off of boiled eggs and white rice.
I live off of boiled eggs from my own chickens and white rice.
That's you know, it's not like he's just you know, spending it all wackadoo. It's going into like, well, let's get some more feed for the chickens and gasolines to make the shows.
And my broken truck.
Your broken truck. And I haven't seen a new plaid shirt in a long time, so you know he's not wasting it on designer clothes.
I put some plaid shirts on my Amazon wish list.
Nice.
I'll put that on there. I put some plaid shirts on there because I'm like, hey man, somebody help me out. I need some new shirts that don't have holes in them. But I did order some new pants because Vicky and I, as I'm sure you've noticed, all of my pants have holes in them.
Oh yes,
they all literally have holes in them, and I realize I can't be that fancy of a hillbilly if I have holes in my pants. You know what I mean?
I think it's when your pants get to more than 2 holes, so more than each knee, you turn into Gerald, right?
Right. Transmogrify into Gerald. And then Gerald shows up and, man, everybody's getting a hot rod haircut, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what was our other super chats we needed to answer, or did those come after?
Oh, no, we got more. Sorry.
We're toggling through.
Yeah.
Oh, Eve Deigel needs more surprises. He misses the surprises. Do you miss the surprises?
I miss them when they're not in the same room as me.
Surprises!
Like it's different in person than it is like through the mic.
Through the power of the internet.
Yeah. Through blowing out your eardrums in person. I can take it or leave it.
Corey almost died.
Yeah. Well, he always scares my turtle.
That's right. I
scream surprise of my turtle, and you hear it go boom, boom,
jumps off the
Surprises
platform.
are on the way again. Surprise attack.
Although there are a lot of fish down there that should be eaten.
I know.
They're not eating them.
He's a chomp in town, but he's likes friends.
Yeah, he's making good fishy friends down there. Yeah. We like that. What's our concurrent, my man? Let's check in with that real quick.
265.
265.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a Monday.
That ain't bad
Must
at
be
all.
that 3 o'clock time slot, or the fact that you're here. Or it's the thumbnail. That must be.
Or Jimmy's calves. We probably got a spike like about a minute afterwards, you know.
Probably Jimmy's calves, probably what it was.
Yeah.
That would probably be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to guess.
Yep.
LG3 Nation with a $2 super chat with no question on it. But we know LG3 Nation's all part of the Fish fam.
Yeah.
Just throwing $2 in the tip jar. Thank you very much.
Boom.
Thank you.
Boom.
Thank you, my man. Oh, today's Elvis's birthday, if anybody realized where that voice was
All
coming
right,
from.
here's what I want to know. Where did you learn that factoid?
My friend Shannon is a huge Elvis fan.
Facebook then?
Or
Or did she send out like the mean text? Everyone I know must know it's his birthday today.
Everyone must, yes. It was a group text to every person she knows, probably thousands. My friend Shannon posted it up on the face page. Yes.
I will say I've been doing.
They moved to
more
Vegas. They moved to Vegas, I think, just to be
In honor of
closer
him?
to the.
Yeah.
You know, I know he's not buried there, but he performed there a lot.
I mean,
Elvis
yeah.
is Vegas is very Elvis. You know, there's a lot of that.
So I've been using the Google, like just the straight up Google app, and then after you tell it your interests, it learns what you click on over time. It's really been curating articles really well for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been learning a lot.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm interested in weather. For some reason it keeps ramming down cryptocurrency down my throat. I don't read about that,
Right.
but it really wants me to. And then lots of camera stuff. So that's where
Right.
I've been learning all my learnings. And I gotta say, at night falling asleep, it's a good time to go, oh, analyst says iPhone X sales are worse than expected. Downgrades key Apple suppliers.
That's not helpful at all.
That's because I'm into business. So I'd be like, ooh, let me read about that.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
But yes.
Kathy Robidoux, one of our Canadian super chatters,
Yeah.
with the $5 Canadian super chat, $4. Oh, wait, dollar
Money for.
Oh, money for. Oh man, I don't know how to read these crazy kids' texts.
I know.
I don't know how to
bro.
read it, man. There's a winky emoji on there. I'm gonna call it winky emoji.
I can't even remember it, but I saw a TV one time. And
You
it
saw
was,
a TV one time?
Yeah, one time.
That's a maze.
I know. And it was like, there's that texting commercial that was like, my BFF Jill. And then like it had all the lingo speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to know it. And it always made me crack up.
I
Because
used
I
to
didn't know
it.
like any of it.
I used to know it, but there's only a
Best
couple I
friend
know
forever.
now.
But then it had like a bunch of other letters where I'm like,
I like the old school ones that people don't know, like AFK.
that blows my mind. I'll do that sometimes when
Yeah.
like people are asking me a bunch of questions in Facebook. And I'll be like, AFK for a sec.
Mhm.
And they're like, huh?
Huh?
And I was like, away from keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Like, what?
What?
But then I go, well, okay, I guess you're never away from your keyboard now that everyone's on a phone.
Right. I guess you can't be like away now. Because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I went away from my computer, but now I've got my computer taped to my forehead.
LOL semicolon /. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Kathy Ann, I always want to say Kathy Ann Robidoux. I don't know why. I wonder if her middle name's Ann. It feels right. Kathy Robidoux, Canadian super chat, bunk beds for Jimmy and Joel.
Let it be known I already own bunk beds. They are
Yeah.
in the garage.
You guys already have bunk beds.
I believe I might be setting one up for Rob at Flip Aquatics.
Oh yeah.
Like, here's your bunk bed. Like, I mean, he's got the option. The option is sleep out in the studio or spend $110 a night for like 4 or 5 nights, which, I mean, it's not undoable. It's just like, well, what if I took $500 and put it towards anything cool at all?
Like lasers.
Lasers, fish, shrimp, cameras.
Lasers would be good. Cameras.
So I got to be honest. I want some crazy fan, which I don't have any yet, but if I ever get one, to listen right now and know that I want a laser that can burn through balloons.
oh.
You've seen those like $200 lasers where you're like, look at this, I could pop that balloon from across the room. I want one of those lasers. I have no use for it other than I just be like, that was awesome once.
Just like that's great. Yeah.
Supposedly it can like, you can shine it like on planes and stuff like that, so they're outlawed a lot of places or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also powerful enough to like literally pop a balloon and do some other not useful things, I guess. But I'm just shocked that a laser that I could have in my hand, I feel like it's Star Wars or something, or like it's like, look at that. It's like a lightsaber almost. I mean, it probably takes like 22 seconds.
Yeah, you're just waiting.
Pop! Like,
Yep.
yeah, that was awesome.
Wait for the power.
Yeah,
Right.
it reminds me of my kid days where you burn ants with a
Yeah.
magnifying glass.
We need you know what I need? Canon 6D Mark II.
I mean, if we're giving them out, I'll take one as well. I'm not gonna.
I keep bringing that up just as a joke. It's funny. At some point in time, I'll have saved enough beans in the old bean jar, and it's going to happen. I think that's where...
I mean, we'll be on the Mark 10 by then.
That's
but
where I'm
yes.
headed. Yeah, it's
Like,
going to be a
it'll
long
like,
time.
oh yeah, I got one for $600. Like,
yeah, it's going to be a long time. But
yeah,
that's okay. I'm willing to work for it. I'm saving my
that's good.
Vittles, my Skittles, my beans.
I mean, if you talk about it for like a year, it'll happen.
Hmm?
Like
That's
a
why I
year
keep
from
talking
now-
about it.
Yeah, if you keep talking about it, like you'll make enough money, it'll come down in price, and like
Mhm.
the right thing will happen. Like a random viewer will be like,
It'll happen,
"So
man.
my work's getting rid of 3 of them because
That's-
we were
it'll
an
happen,
old
bro.
film production crew."
It'll happen,
and-
bro, but people got to know.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you dream it,
Share it with the people.
it might happen.
It might be a thing
Yeah.
at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Mike with the SEK of 20, which I believe is Swedish crowns, right?
Sweet
Swedish,
crowns, bro.
Swedish European crowns, right? Something
I
like
think
that.
it's sweet English crones.
Swedish
Sweet English crones.
English crowns.
Yeah, sweet S, English E, crones.
Crowns.
Crowns.
Got it.
Crowns.
Says my cat falls asleep to your voices every day. Well, that's not really a question. That's more of a statement.
I think it's like a wearing it loud and proud.
All right.
My cat falls asleep to your voices.
To your voices every day.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's working for you. One thing I know about cats, they do sleep a lot. So it might not be too
Like
crazy.
my little old lady dogs. They sleep a lot too.
The old lady dogs. Our dogs sleep a lot too. Mr. Chips and Biddy. They like...
I mean, when you got dogs that are 10 plus years old, it takes a lot out of them just to go potty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and quick reminder that Wednesday, I'm going to be in my studio, my home studio. So I need
What does that
everyone
even
here.
look like?
I need everyone here to try and show up on Wednesday
You need a good turnout.
because there is a big pull. You have to admit, there's a big pull of Corey fans that show up.
I don't know about that.
There
We'll
is.
know
I
after
mean,
Wednesday.
the numbers.
We'll
the
know after
numbers.
Wednesday.
The numbers don't lie. Right. Like Corey comes on, it's going to be at least a couple hundred more people watch it.
That is usually the case.
I mean, you have 106,000 subscribers. It's right on the back wall.
Yeah,
over
but I
there.
didn't advertise at all.
What?
I didn't advertise this at all.
No, but it does have a poll. Because
It
people are like,
it
oh,
has in the past.
Corey and Gerald are up on a mountain.
I'm excited to see if people have fallen in love with Corvus as I have.
Oh, we'll see.
Because
We'll see. I
I'm
better be on the
excited.
ball.
I'm excited. I'll tell you why
We'll
I'm
just be
excited.
like 2 hours of yelling into a
Here's why I'm
microphone. I don't know if I'll
excited.
be able to do it.
You guys don't realize, for the past 6 weeks, I have not got to enjoy the Corvus Oskin show. Why not? Because I'm on the Corvus Oskin show. It's way different when you're on it as opposed to like doing work and listening like all you guys are doing. You guys are consuming it and enjoying it the way it's meant to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're on the show, so like I'm jonesing for his random antics. Like that's because you're in, when you're on the show, it's just different. It's different when you're like, okay, what's he saying? I got to say something next, blah, 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 versus, eating nachos in your underwear, looking at spreadsheets for, your store, like it's a different
Eating
environment.
sandwiches.
I had to put pants on today,
pants.
Like certain things have to be done,
Yeah.
and so I'm excited on Wednesday. I get to, just hang out and listen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. See if anybody can stump me on Thursday or Wednesday.
Is that the challenge?
On Wednesday?
Stump the host?
Yeah. Good luck. So smart.
All right.
I
So
can easily get
here's
there.
the here's
I get
the
stumped all
parameters.
the time.
Here's the parameters. You have to stump him in a realm that he should know really well.
Like
what
tchotchkes?
about stumping you in like the substrate like agricultural world?
That'd be
Would be difficult for your
Yeah.
average human, right?
That'd be hard. I wonder if anybody could come up with anything that would really put it over.
And for
'Cause
stumping,
there's stuff that's,
it has
the-
to be like
'cause-
I have no idea. It can't be like, oh, you were off by like you pronounced it wrong.
Because there's
You know?
like fish stuff that you could throw right past me. I mean, there's like
Right.
certain fish. I'm just like, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't. They look
but
like
I know
I
you're
think they
very
swim
passionate
underwater.
about that.
I think they like swim underwater, right?
Yeah. You're very passionate about farming and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff in general. So, I bet you another safe topic would be like contracting type work, like building stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a pretty hard one to stump you on, I bet.
Yeah.
For you, and I think the premise is you have to like know nothing about it.
Cooking would be hard.
It can't be like, well, what's the regulation for 2x4s in India? Like, well, first, they wouldn't be 2x4s. They're measured in centimeters. Second, I don't know.
Yeah. India's ridiculous.
I'll bring little old lady on.
Oh.
She was jumping at Lindsay. She was so excited.
Oh. This is Sassy, if you guys have never seen my channel. Sassy the Destroyer, actually. 13-year-old, blind, almost deaf chihuahua.
She's a
She's almost
chihuahua.
14.
Almost 14. Yeah.
Mhm.
Vintage. Vintage.
Tacos for dinner.
Sure. Tacos for dinner on
Did
a
I
Monday.
hear tacos?
We did.
Taco
That sounds
Monday.
good.
Yeah.
What flavor of tacos?
All the flavors.
All right. All the flavors.
Gatorade.
Gatorade flavor?
Homemade rice.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All right.
All right.
Do you want to hold her for a while?
I can hold her, but she's shivering, as
I'll take her
always.
back. Come on, old lady.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, hoppy dog. That's the only dog that's really nice to me here.
Well, Lindsay loves you.
Well, Wincy too, but she gets excited.
Yeah. It's that Tinkerbell.
She gets excited
that-
because Tinkerbell gets excited.
Yeah, Tinkerbell will take your head off. Tinky.
Her name is never Tinkerbell.
Yeah, but when I say Tinky, people have no idea what I'm talking about. So I say Tinkerbell, and then you follow it up with Tinky later.
She has a pink cape, princess cape. She now gets.
Perfect. Just what she needed, a cape.
And I also got a wiener dog costume.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The bare essentials.
Oh.
Oh, does it?
You have to get a Chewini,
Yeah.
Obviously.
like Biddy
So-
Brown.
Faux show.
Yeah. So we had a special visitor today.
Yeah.
Sassy.
The Destroyer.
The Destroyer of Worlds.
So they're coming out with a new Fluval light, by the way, hot off the press, peoples.
Oh, Fluval's tripping.
But I feel like I have to use Sassy in that lighting review as well, because she debuted in the first Fluval lighting
Oh.
review. So
Good point. The 1.0 or the 2.0?
The 2.0. The 1.0 was such an S show that it deserved no video.
The Fresh and Plant original, the OG.
Yes, the 1.0 was twice the price for half as much light as the current 2.0, so it was worse on both ends.
I just got some bad news in the chat here.
What'd
I just
you
got
get?
some terrible news. Kevin Keener just found out he didn't get
Oh.
tomorrow off for Dean's talk.
Speaking of which, we haven't made a decision
We
yet.
can't stage a coup on the metro then, because it's like
And
government
we got to
stuff.
decide if we can even go. Like, staring down the gun of the 15th thing. Because we're going to lose the whole night, by the way. We would
Mhm.
do the show 3 to 5, instantly hop in the car and drive straight to Dean, or to the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, essentially. And then you would drive home after that. So you'd be home at like midnight. And then we basically, we would lose most of a day. So we gotta evaluate where we're at in that room before we can have time off.
Yeah, we'll figure that out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to go, but at the same time, I know that I'm lucky enough to be like, hey, Dean, you want to come over? And he'd be like, all right. And then I can get it firsthand. So it's not the end of the world, even though I really do want to show support and all that because he's super wicked cool. And he was hanging out in Jimmy's live stream last night. Dean was there.
Oh, was he there?
Yeah.
I noticed that he had Kyle's releasing those Placo caves,
Yeah.
glass blown Placo caves. The bearded fish keeper.
They're wicked cool. They're
They
just a
look
little expendy. Custom stuff is
How much
always
were they?
expendy.
I was wondering how much they were.
So I saw
And no one
late
could
last
like
night.
no one could like give me
I
a
saw late last
price.
night they started putting them up with prices, and I
Uh-huh.
think like the zebra and the tiger striped one, which I thought the tiger striped one was the coolest looking one,
Yeah.
reminded me of Tony the Tiger, with shipping included, $75.
$75.
Yeah,
Oh,
not cheap. Wicked cool, but not cheap.
totally cool. Totally cool. Not cheap though.
Not cheap. I mean, I think they are cool. I've seen glass blowers and stuff do that kind of stuff. They've always like wandered in my shop like, hey man, I could, and they always show me their aquarium that looks ridiculously cool, because for them, it's just their time, and they're like, oh yeah, it's probably like $5,000 worth of glass I've done at this point. But if you want to do that, it's $5,000 worth of glass at that point. So it's like that thing where you could build yourself a stand. And you're like, yeah, I put in a couple of Saturdays or
Right.
whatever. And then I'm like, hey, will you build me that stand? And you're like, oh yeah, it's $1,000. Like, huh? You're like, well, it took me 2.5 Saturdays, and like somehow to them it's the same way. Like, I got an hour to kill. Let me make a pleco cave. But when you say like, oh, I need you to make 20 pleco caves, now it's not killing hours anymore. It's like, oh, I have to do the work, and I get paid this amount, and it costs this much for the glass, and heating up this kiln or whatever they're, fire, forge. I don't know what the correct glass blowing apparatus heater thing, inferno, like, that probably costs money to get that thing cooking.
Probably, but I don't know. That seems pretty high. I don't know. But
It's custom stuff. That's part of the problem. And two, it is cool. Like, I'm not gonna say I don't want one, because I do want one. But I definitely think it's a product I wouldn't have like 10 of them. Wouldn't have 3 of them probably. I'd probably just be like, oh, I want one.
Yeah,
So.
I just want one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. You've never seen an item labeled Pleco Cave that was reasonably priced?
What about those stackable like hexagon ones?
I don't know what they go for, but I think the cobalt roughly are reasonable. And the only reason why I say reasonable is because I've went to different clay places and stuff like that, and by the time you got to extrude it, and it's not like they always start with like, we can make that wicked cheap, and I'm like, okay, cool. Except I don't think it's gonna be as cheap as you think. Like, no, it'd be really easy. We'll run it through the extruder. It comes out as a long tube. Any you want square, you want round, whatever you want. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it needs to be pinched on one end. But then you also be like, but there can't be any ridges. They can't be getting cut up and stuff. And they're like, oh, you want us to smooth all the ridges? Oh, well, now it's not going to be cheap. And I'm like, I know. That's what I was trying to tell you guys.
Yeah.
And they always come back, and at the end of the day, it's like, so I can buy them from a wholesaler, or I can buy them from you guys, and you're 50 cents more? And then usually I will buy the ones that are locally made because I want to support that. And then they're always like, yeah, we're not even really making any money on this. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, okay. I've done that like twice now, so it's been one of those like, well, all right, I guess I'll just buy the commercially made ones.
That's lame.
I like being able to say they're locally made. I do think that's cool, but if they're losing time and money, like everyone starts off gung ho until you're like, great, I'll take 300 more of those, and they're like, ugh, that's like 4 days of work. No one's like most people are doing pottery. They're into it for like the artistic aspect, not the grinding out of 400 tubes. So that's what I found so far.
That just means there is an opening out there, folks. Really should look into running your own thing out there. If you're somebody that's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life? Working down here at the library just ain't doing it.
I wish
for
I had
me
a small little kiln. I would probably, I would probably make my own little caves every once in a while, just as a fun project. So, we do have another super chat, right?
We have another super chat, I believe.
Cool.
From the secret history living in your aquarium. Does planting a biome of paired regional fish help?
Does planting a biome of paired regional fish help? I mean, in general, plants usually help provide shelter and things like that. Depends on, like, the type of fish. Some are going to be really territorial, so without
I think there's a
line of
little
sight
bit
blocks.
of a follow-up here that was,
Oh,
does planting biomes of endemic fish and plants have any benefits, or is mixing global plants a better choice?
well, I think it depends on what's your goal. Is your goal to put on a display in a zoo?
Right.
Endemic stuff. But if you're as a hobbyist, it's way better to use plants of the world, because then you can dial it into what your light is and the way you're going to keep them, as opposed to having to do it the other way. So
I would say, yeah. I mean, I would say I don't. Yeah, you bring up a really good point. Is that like if you were doing an endemic fish to like try and keep them together, like paired up with the specific plant species around
Right.
them,
yeah,
that's more of a biotope. I guess
Right.
maybe if you were going
and
like,
biome
look,
is another word for
I've got a
that,
biotope that is specific to a certain area.
Like the
then
good one I
yeah,
can think
but-
of is people oftentimes are like, I want to make an Amazon discus biotope, and you're like, great, so you don't want any plants? And you're like, no, I do. Like,
Right.
okay, well, that's the way it would be. Like, oh, you want Amazon swords in them? Like, well, typically they're not near each other. So
Those aren't near each other at all.
so I think mostly what we want,
Those discus is out in the river, bro.
yeah, they're in tannin water with sticks.
Uh-huh.
But what I think what we want as hobbyists is we want a tank to look good. We want our fish to be happy. And yes, so I always tell people I never do true biotopes because it's too hard. A lot of the plants you're like, great, except you will never, ever, ever be able to buy that plant. So that's just not going to work. Where I almost did one with the clown loaches, like water sprite and stuff like that. And it was one of those things like, oh, these common plants make sense. But I think you're much better off. There are big benefits in keeping fish from the same region together.
Right.
It's been proven with loaches and stuff like that it really does help. But in terms of plants, I think for most fish it wouldn't matter. That being said, I do think maybe if you had bettas and rice paddies and things like that, those leaves are naturally structured to make their nests, so I could see some benefit there.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just use what about a dwarf aquarium lily? And you're going to be like, yeah, they love that too.
Right.
So then, my official stance is I don't think you get any more benefit to something that would be endemic to that lake as a plant than you would from a plant from anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You get cool points, like, oh, wow, that's cool.
You definitely
but
it definitely is cool points to build to one area.
yeah, it makes it more challenging, which can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure that the fish are going, oh, this is better.
Right.
I think it's just you think, oh, this was fun. It's a nice challenge, tracking the stuff down and researching and that type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's really going to be probably the way to go. I don't think. Yeah. I mean, I just wonder what the question is. There going to be like a real benefit for it? I mean, not necessarily.
I think in some very loose, with no research given, you could probably make a case of let's say warus and severums, if they were gonna eat plants, that maybe the nutrients in those plants would make the most sense from where they're from.
Right.
Maybe. And
Right.
that's a real stretch though. I'm not sure that's an actual thing, but you could probably make a case, and I could be like, sure, except with all that effort, you probably could just make up your own DIY fish food that's infinitely better than what you were going to try and pull off. That's my logic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Right. We have another super chat here from Vortec V8. If you could choose only one plant and only one plant to keep forever, what would you pick for both aquariums and mini ponds?
I already know mine.
Desert island plant, if you will. You know yours?
I always know it. So. And
Oh, wait.
I'm tired of stealing it from you.
Wait.
So I'll let you go first.
Wait.
I'll let you go first.
Wait. You can't just run into this, because we did this earlier with the one food thing when we were talking. Remember?
The one food thing.
Like if it's one food thing that you could have for the rest of your life.
Earlier today, you mean?
We were just talking about it,
Yeah.
right? But we would, because we ran into the problem. Is it is it only a meal? Is it only an item? Is it only a this? Is it only a that?
Mm-hmm.
So we would have to say, if there was only one plant and one plant to keep forever. Now, does that fall within a genus?
I think it.
Or
I
specific to the.
think it goes down to specific that plant.
Just one specific type.
So yeah,
that's
let's
it?
say you'd be like, okay, so marbled.
So I couldn't have any variations of anything and go like,
right.
well, I could
think
have
that
have
opens it up
pearl
too
weed, I
much.
could have HC, I could have Monte Carlo.
Right.
Those are all the same. They're all just different sizes.
I mean, I think that's a little technical, but let's say for a terrarium or a houseplant, you'd say well, I would do pothos. You could be like, okay, only
That's weak
marbled
sauce, bro.
pothos.
You and your pothos.
But I feel like in aquariums,
Pothos, bruh.
I think in
Only
an aquarium
one?
is cheating.
What's that?
I feel like an aquarium is cheating.
Cheating to what?
If you're like, I'll just choose cryptocorns, and there's so much variation there that you're like, yeah, that you could do a whole tank. And you're like, wow, look at all those different plants. Like, nope, actually, they're all from the same genus.
Actually, these are all crypts, my friend.
Yeah, so I think you gotta go to one.
Banana plant.
Just straight one.
What?
Really? You going banana plant?
No.
Oh. So yeah, You pick so I don't ruin yours. Because last time we did something and I blurted it out, you're like, that was mine.
What do you got?
Oh, you want me to go first now?
Oh, you can go first. It's fine. Yeah.
Vallisneria.
Vallisneria is the one?
Always. Yes. 100% always my one plant.
That's your one plant.
Every tank that's populated with Vallisneria and Vallisneria only looks rad.
That's what you got?
Yes.
Okay.
I challenge you to find...
But you have to have one specific type, right?
Sure, yeah. Pick any type. Doesn't matter.
Oh, you don't care?
No. It
Oh.
always looks cool. I would challenge you to have any other aquarium that only had one species that looked ridiculously cool.
Oh, well, dwarf baby tears. There are thousands of awesome looking tanks that have dwarf baby tears and only dwarf baby tears in them that look way more awesome than a Vallisneria jungle tank, in my opinion.
Not with the style of fish I keep.
We're just looking at stuff.
This is why I choose Vallisneria, because I can keep them with African cichlids. I can keep them with community fish. I can keep them with clown loaches, all kinds of stuff, where really dwarf baby tear is pretty narrow. Nothing that's really going to disturb that substrate. It pigeonholes you into pretty much doing CO2 and all that stuff, which is like... So let's say you had 10 aquariums. Are you telling me you'd be like, oh man, I'm super jazzed that all of my tanks look like a dwarf baby tear carpet?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I would not. I legitimately be like, super boring.
You'd be super jazzed that they're all of yours just look like this long,
At
overgrown
least,
weed.
At least with that, I could cut in like trails and paths and do things with it where I feel like
Right.
the ground carpet, you're like, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not a good look, but I'm saying I only get to keep one plant. There's a lot of versatility in Vallisneria where you're pretty much pigeonholed into what you're going to do when it comes to dwarf baby tears. You're going to go, yep, I got a lot of high-tech plant setups, and I can keep these fish that don't really beat or dig up on that thing.
I do, but that's not the plant I'm picking.
All right, I'm just saying in that example, that's why I would never choose that plant.
That's why you'd never choose that plant?
I mean, if you had chose Vallisneria, I definitely have something else I would choose.
No, I certainly wouldn't choose Vallisneria.
Yeah, that's because
I
you're wrong.
wouldn't. What's that?
That's because you're wrong.
Because I'm wrong?
That's why you wouldn't choose it.
That's why I wouldn't choose it?
Yeah, it's the best plant.
That's the best plant? That's wrong? I'm wrong?
And you got to take into account and ponds also. Like, do you really, like, in the example we're not using, do you really want dwarf baby tear pond? Not really.
Yeah.
It would look
I could
dumb.
argue dwarf baby tears all day because it grows above water. It makes a carpet
sure.
outside on the ground.
Sure.
Have you ever seen bonsai tree pots with
Yes.
the dwarf baby tears growing in it?
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. You could grow it
It's
as
cool.
your lawn.
It's cool.
Your Vallisneria can't grow out on it as a lawn.
No, but it can flower.
It can flower. It's terrible.
It's not that cool, but yes.
Terrible. I think honestly, if I had to pick one plant, this is kind of a crazy question. First of all, I think I would pick Ludwigia. I think is where I would go.
What?
Because you have immersed grown, submerged grown,
Yeah.
and land growth on all three. Like you can grow them in pots.
Yeah.
You can grow them in the ground. Well, it's like if we're saying there's only one plant,
Yeah.
I need one that grows everywhere, first of all.
Yep.
I need one that also grows in ponds. I also need one that grows emergent.
Mm-hmm.
I need one that flowers at some point in time. I need one that changes colors depending on its environment,
Yep.
which most of them will or do. And also can just grow in the ground. Like it can just grow in the dirt. So at least I could do my yard, my pond, my fish tanks.
Well,
don't
to
know
be
about the
fair, it did
chickens.
say to aquariums and
Was
ponds.
it?
Not so. I mean, you are on a desert island.
Is that
but
what's
you-
going on?
You
It's
don't
a
get to do
desert
your
island
yard in
plant.
it. You don't get to do your yard in it.
You could choose only one plant and one plant to keep forever.
Yep.
What would you pick for both aquariums and mini ponds? Okay. Well, I think the Ludwigia I'd go with it because
No, it's still fine.
you get so much growth. You can get so much growth above the water line too.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
not a bad one.
That's what I'd be like. That was a big game changer because otherwise I would have just gone Anubias because
Mm-hmm.
I mean realistically, if you've ever seen which I had the pleasure of getting a chance to see this and I actually bought a portion of it was like a 200-gallon tank that was full of Anubias Nana Petite. right? Like full. Like it had just been growing on everything in there for
Like
probably
full?
like 20 years, like full. I bought a portion of it that was this big, right? That was a chunk just out of right here. It was like this much.
Was it $1 billion, or were they just being nice to you?
I don't think the guy realized that it was a really expensive plant
Oh.
because I was like, I'll give you $150 for that. And he was like, really? For the wood? I was like, oh, for the plants too. And he was like, yeah. I'm not going to take the plants. I was like, it's pretty expensive plants. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I don't care. I was like, all right, put it in the bag.
Yeah.
So, but that was a reef store. I was actually at a reef store, so that's why that plant that
Oh,
that
yeah.
tank had never been messed
They didn't
with.
realize, like, oh, that's a hammerhead coral right there.
Yeah, it
Like,
just
they
had been there for
yeah.
20 years. Like, just this tank was set up with
hidden in a reef store.
Yeah, it was just hidden in a reef store, and I was like, I want that right there, and they were like,
Nice.
yeah, cool. Like, so I was thinking Anubias, but then, I mean, you could grow it immersed and submerged in a pond.
My second would have definitely been a crypt, like Crypt Wendeti or Crypt lutea. And when they carp it out, they always pretty much look cool, and
Cryptluteas just get so nice and tall and everything too.
they both can, depending on how much you starve them of light.
Yeah,
You can be like, get
If you-
taller.
if you put them in the dark, those Wendeti will get super tall.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So I like them quite a bit. But that was a fun question. I do Vallisneria. I have a video dedicated and an article on my website, my blog, dedicated to Vallisneria, the wonder plant.
Mm-hmm.
I love it so much. That's why it's in the. Someone asked earlier, way back in the chat here, how long that val is. It's like almost 40 inches long at this point, so it's over 3 feet.
Yeah.
Because right now the
Ziflow.
power head is pushing it over, but when nothing's pushing it, it's like pretty much to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So
This all grows. All
Yeah.
grows up to the top.
slowly but surely, we're gonna
Slowly
fill
but
in
surely.
this giant. Like people are like, is that growing? It's like, oh no, it's growing. That's like a 75-gallon tank we're sitting right there.
Right.
So yeah. All right, well-
getting down to the end of the show.
Faux show.
Getting down to the end of the show, we've got just a few minutes left. I'd like to say thank you for everybody that was interacting, came in to chat, threw in super chat, especially Miss
Yeah.
Melissa Blue with the huge $137 super chat. Thank you very much. That's
It's a Christmas miracle.
it's a Christmas miracle in January, right?
Mhm.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I want to say extra special thanks to all the patronizers because I don't know if I did the New Year's thing all that well.
Ooh, the last thing we should talk about. Maybe we save it, but we're supposed to like announce the prizes one of these days.
We are going to be announcing the prizes. I think
That's why it says, "What's up, prizes?"
we were going to where does it say what's up prizes?
Right underneath.
Oh,
me.
on the underneath.
Yeah.
They're coming this week.
All right.
They are coming this week. We definitely got. I think we're gonna do them Thursday on the Real Fish Talk. I think, right?
Either one, yeah.
I
I
think.
mean,
I'm
you had a
not
chance
sure.
to win no matter who you were patronizing. So.
Right. So I think
Yeah.
maybe we'll do them on the
We'll-
Real Fish
we'll
Talk or
build the
something, or I don't know.
suspense.
We're building the suspense. We haven't selected them yet, but the prize is awesome.
We have the
And
prizes. We just haven't selected who won.
We haven't got like
So you can
all,
still patronize now.
all of the
Well, no, that's
prizes
not true.
figured out. No,
Yeah,
all
you
the
had to be
patronizers that closed. So
True.
the all the patronizers from December is the list that are going to be getting in the drawing. So you'll be making it into the drawing. I think it's 2 for my channel and 2 for
Yeah.
your channel, right?
2 and 2.
2 from the coop and 2 from I don't have anything cool like the coop. I don't have a nickname like that. So
It's from DISA.
what's that?
DISA.
Let's be honest here. We're
D-
just extending
Dark
it
Star
out.
Arts. DSA. DISA.
Oh, from DSA. Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
DISA.
From DSA, Dark Star Arts.
Yeah, it's like
If you
TSA.
haven't checked out my website, it's Dark Star Arts. You can go out there, check it out. You can click through the Amazon banner, and hopefully, if everybody buys all of their stuff through that Amazon banner, someday we'll be able to convince Amazon to just send us out a camera. Someday.
I'm
right?
helping. I've spent almost $3,000 to it this week because I had to buy
Takes a lot.
equipment for the new studio. And that camera I was talking about.
Oh, we should do that.
So we're getting here closer to that camera, ever so slowly.
Ever so slowly. Most people are confused on how the Amazon banner works. You just click through it, takes you to Amazon, then you just go find whatever you want to find. You just make sure to that you don't like click out and go to Facebook and click through other ads and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't change your price or anything like that. It just says, "Hey, we sent you," and it basically just
It's
Amazon
like you tell the small business owner like, oh,
Amazon goes like, "Hey, you get 50-cent credit for driving traffic to them."
Yeah.
It's like if that
it
makes
just works like, oh, my friend told me I should come here and try the biscuits and gravy, and they go, oh, what was your name? Oh, her name's Melissa. And then when Melissa goes in, they're like, hey, we're giving you a cinnamon roll. Why? Oh yeah, you're sending people our way. That's essentially, that's the easy way. And just know that as long as you click through Joel's website, he gets the cinnamon roll.
Right.
If you don't, if you like click through Joel's and then you click through Facebook, Facebook gets the cinnamon roll.
Right.
And they already get a lot of cinnamon rolls, so
I can't use this keyboard over here. It
All
doesn't
right.
work very well for me. So I'm just going to answer it audibly. HC Aqua is asking, is this separate from the Aquarium co-op drawing? Yes, this is actually from people signing up from the Patreon and everything. There's going to be 2 winners from my group of patronizers. There's going to be 2 winners from Corey's group
It's
of
a patron
patronizers. So
only thing.
if you did both, you kind of getting double the chances here.
Double dipping.
And so that will be coming up fairly soon. I don't know. I don't remember. We had like a date written down, and I can't remember what date it was, but I think we'll just announce it either tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I don't
One
know
of
any
those
of these
days.
times.
Yep.
Right? One of these days it'll be coming up. Mainly, we're a little slightly confused on what the date was going to be because I'm the one that actually has to go to the post office to send it out, and now suddenly Rob from Flip Aquatics is coming out, so we got to make sure we got all that organized and stuff, so we don't just because there are some secret surprises in that package for sure that are going to be pretty enticing for a lot of people out there. But thanks a lot for everybody coming out. Don't light any fires in your garage. It's super crazy. This is the first 2-hour special. Thank you. The 2-hour special? What? It's 2-hour show. Thanks for coming out for the 2-hour show, and have a lot of fun out there today. If you all still bored and you're looking for another Washingtonian live stream fish guy, go check out Bob Steenfot. He just fired up his live stream, and we'll be hollering at you tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Real Fish Talk. Not
True
on this
dat.
channel.
True that.
Well, not back here. We'll be on Real
Holla
Fish
back,
Talk tomorrow.
Daryl.
All right. Late.